being here this week. But for now, Brendan at the big desk.
Hey, guys.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome in. 2 o'clock, couple hours left here on pretty red afternoon. Still better part of 1+% for the NASDAQ. S&P negative on the day so far as well. Oil still standing out as the strong index today. 6-month highs, in fact, for oil today. So some of the energy names to the upside, but could be a lot worse, I guess, across the board. That's actually the 30-year. 2 days in a row here. Big day up once again. We have come off the highs for the 30-year, but yields absolutely ripping the past couple of days. The dollar as well showing all kinds of strength early on this morning. We have given some of that back, but 2-3 days in a row here to the upside for the dollar index. Gold is higher on the day as well. We'll talk to Frank Kaberna. A little bit of housekeeping out of the gate. We're going to have a special guest coming through at 2:45 about this afternoon. We'll talk to the folks over at Cannabis about some of the things that are happening with not only the cannabis industry, but that company specifically. CBOE Canada listing, Cannabis coming through this afternoon. And then Frank's going to join us a little bit later today at 3:30 market time. So stand by for Frank at 3:30. Tesla. Still pretty ugly here, 5% to the downside, chopping around between 165 and 168. We are really not doing a heck of a lot after that big move down on the delivery numbers. I was just reading, it's the first quarterly delivery miss in 4 years for Tesla. So significant to say the least here. Ugly down there for TSLA. UNH, 8% on a couple of negative notes I saw for United Health today. AMD downside in a big way. Broadcom, Intel, MU, and such. All the chip names under pressure. Microsoft, Google, Apple, NVIDIA. Positive. Meta higher on the day as well. That gives you a little bit of a perspective on the lay of the overall land here. Wanted to show this daily chart of the overall NASDAQ because we're only basically back to the middle of the range here, picking up 433 on the downside. We're exactly in the middle. So yeah, it feels like a pretty ugly day, but as I mentioned, could be a lot worse. As far as the economic calendar is concerned, had a couple of important numbers this morning. This one particularly, the JOLTS job openings number, 8.75 if you missed it, versus 8.84 million forecast. So that's one of, do we have one tomorrow? Yeah, we do have the ADP tomorrow. So that's one of three, the first of three employment-related data points this week that are going to be significant, that JOLTS number today. All right, let's talk some crypto here to kick things off. We'll do a bit of a review, as we normally do this time of day. We were touching on the fact that Bitcoin was downside in a pretty big way to start things off in the pre-market this morning. All of these, I mean, they were following the market in addition to following crypto downside, but pretty red day. They are starting to crawl backwards, guys.
I wouldn't have gotten filled. So we're just looking at that board, and we're like UNH was on there, down 8%, and I had stunk bid this, and I just realized today, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't recall getting a fill notification on my personal account on UNH when it got to support at 450, but that's because my order actually expired. I think I only put it in good for a month on a stink bid when it made the last move down. So anyways, that notwithstanding, we are not going to be trading UNH today, barring some kind of a miracle. But the market is still to the downside, so I'm not eating any Vegemite. And for all of the hoopla about crypto, it's worth saying that oddly enough, from the open, it's held up some of the best. If you look at Tesla, you look at other things, like IBIT's above VWAP, it actually made a series of higher lows. I know it's down 6%, but it has made some kind of a consolidation. You'll see I have marked off 3760. That looks like a good resistance zone. I feel like there's a fade in there this afternoon if we can never really get through that. So while everyone was talking about the gap down, the rejection of 70 into 65, there's been some stability in crypto. Most of the fireworks was Tesla getting destroyed. The bounce on NVIDIA was pretty impressive. That was a good chance. If you were looking long, that was a good place to go. Looking at what happened with AMD to the downside, some of the other chip names. But crypto, I thought we were going to have a chance to maybe take out some lows, and then we'd be looking at some interesting support levels. Maybe we get back to 35 on IBIT, $60,000 level if you're following spot prices. None of that materialized today, Sean.
You good? Yeah, maybe a half hour or something. I don't know. 20 minutes? I don't know. When are you out of here? Randy. Oh, right about now. Yeah, it's a little rainy out there. I was walking around there. I had to go meet Baxter. Yeah. Bitcoin. We already talked about this today. Pretty stable. How come the both times you're here, we're talking about crypto, I think it was today. We have Tesla next. Nice. If you want to get on the desk with with Rendo there.
I know. I should have pulled this.
XOM, yeah. What, you talking about XOM?
XOM.
Yeah.
Wow, look at Neil's screen there. Up 1 1/4 today, 1.5.
And you know,
Mike, man.
Nailed it.
Middle East turbulence and supply risk is driving XOM. I think today. That's my opinion, but I think this is going to be an ongoing trend. And look at their month. Like go back 10 or even 20 days on XOM and just look at the climb, folks. It's a wonderful thing. I love it.
Look at that, folks.
One concern while we're jumping from topics, only because this just happened on I'd be careful with some of these names because Oxy put in a heck of a reversal. It looks like a reversal candle on the daily. Oxy, similar move, and on the daily, if you've been buying, I got out here on the bounce, the Buffett bounce. It goes right to the resistance, and look at the kind of reversal that put in this afternoon. I don't know if some of this is going to be some profit taking in some of these energy names, but wow. Yeah, you know, in a day where crypto was weak and we're going to talk about Tesla looking ugly, there were some kernels of strength. Energy names still looking pretty darn good.
He's gone.
He gone.
He gone. Thank you.
He's going to go spend that XOM money on some more jorts.
Yeah, it's getting close to Jort's weather, but I feel like that's every day might be Jort's day.
Well, for Randy.
In Randy's life.
Not for us.
But yeah, so you know what? We talked about 64,000. We didn't really get down there. I mean, 64.5 was a level that seems to have been held. So let's just zoom out just a little bit because maybe in this next 2 hours while we're here together, maybe we'll get a revisit there. So yeah, that's something to look at. Let's just zoom this back out, maybe like a 4-hour chart or something to see. So that 64.5 is right there. The 62.5, yeah, you still just, you know, no matter what you see here, you still always look at the bottom and it just happens to be 60,000. So, I mean, no matter what, it feels like we're on a sort of magnet to that level, but I don't think we're far away from 71 either. I mean, if we think that we have a chance to go down into this area, could we not get that rocking back there as well? So I think there's some opportunities here for crypto right now. Just got to hold this rough area right now. It's kind of going through a bad little period here with all the coins going to the downside. So we'll stay true to BTC and see if we can hold 64.
All right, as the guys were discussing there, let's talk about Tesla. Yeah, 6-month highs for oil, crazy. Move back to the upside. Here's the daily chart. I wanted to show this. We did hold 161, trying to bounce off the low end of the daily chart range. 33 billion at the low this morning. 33 billion in market value gone off Tesla shares today on this delivery number. As I mentioned, it's the first time in 4 years they've missed their quarterly delivery forecast. As far as the number is concerned, it wasn't by a lot, but still pretty ugly. It was like 13,000 and change versus 17,000 expected there. But mostly green on the volume side, mostly green on the price action after we had that huge flush. There it is. In the pre-market this morning, since the open, guys, it's just been a grind higher for Tesla.
You just have to keep looking at it.
Grinding.
Yeah, I traded a little bit of Tesla here right now. I'm just trying to, the other thing cool about this trade idea is you can link. So I'm like linking my charts to my eSignal account. So it's pretty cool like that. So you can add a link and then do that, and then I can change it all up.
I want that for
I was just saying, it was telling me, I know. I was just telling me that Alibaba was here at VWAP, so I want to give a shout out. Again, 2 trade ideas. It's on the board there, so why not? Here's the scan right there. I was just saying to Neil, so it's telling me Alibaba is near VWAP right now, and it is, you know, like, and then you're going to look here at WFC was the next one. No, sorry, WFC. ZM was the next one. Zoom. So let's see where that is right now. So there it is. I mean, the thing is, this is what I'm talking about. I need to alter it a little bit because it's just like hovering around. I like to see like when it's moving away from or coming into it. So we'll figure those scans out. But a shout out to Trade Ideas. Make sure you check that. Look, Tesla was a good trade. We hit it, and then we were telling you we're holding that 20% or I don't know. Can't remember the exact amount. I have to go back and look. Eventually, it got out for flat at the end. So we didn't take advantage of the huge dip, but we did get it out right there at 165 off of a 168 short. So it turned out to be good, but we don't have that 164.50 bottom there. So we did pretty good getting out at the bottom, held it until I think it must have been the 50 period at that time, or it was just a flat trade. So again, take that top at 167, get out there at 165. You guys all saw me do that. We were pretty happy with it. Then right when we left you at 11 o'clock was basically the low for Tesla. And we didn't take it. We were holding for lower. And then eventually it popped up there, and that's what Tesla looks like today. Still down 5%. Look at that. It basically holds that 168 that we talked about. I wasn't here. I just got back just at about 1:30 or so. Put a video out there, met my kid for some food. But nice move back in. So I really like that 168 short. Just wish we were here for it. So yeah, we'll wait. Patience will be key here in the afternoon.
You know, I feel like it's always key in the afternoon, but on a day where, I mean, pop the NASDAQ up. I mean, you can look at what Tesla's doing. Apple will give you a good example too. On a day where the NASDAQ is doing this little barcode, and I was having this conversation with Brankles. He's like, oh, the chart yesterday is the same as today. Like you go up, you had a flush in the open, and then you bounced and kind of rallied late in the afternoon. I go, it's a little different because the big flush happened. This is the pre-market. Like it happened when Tesla gave the numbers and everything tanked at an hour before the market opened up. When we came on air is when it tanked. So after the open, you didn't even have the big move down. So you really had to capture a bunch of that profit on like the first moves down. Then you got chances to reload, which I went over in the lesson of the day, like how I could have done Tesla better. So I don't want to rehash it. You guys can watch that one after. I talked half of it was about how I could have done better in Tesla, reloading off those, and the 68 was the level I liked, and I could have been more aggressive with the 67. Sean was, I wasn't, and we'll talk about AMD when we get to the chips as well. But I think you got to be patient. 68 looks like it's a good level. I just don't like the fact you're making higher lows here for the short. We're going to talk about GoEV. I'll talk some Nikola when we get to that one. Tesla deserves its own cred today after that delivery miss. Remember, they missed expectations, but the key is that it was like the first time in forever, and it was already under pressure. So that 150, I still believe, even with this bounce, that 150 is in play in the coming days and weeks.
All right, Apple AI on the list next after this comes out this morning. They release more details on what is to come in June at the Worldwide Developer Conference, where we'll get the release of everything they've been working on. But a few more details this morning as far as what this can do. And this was talking a lot about like just random language. So it has the ability to convert text to images, convert text to video, it would appear, and then also answer questions. But specifically, it was talking about being able to understand incomplete sentences, just very short things thrown at it, as well as in a conversational manner, so that once you start a query, so ask it a question, then you can answer it with shorten that or lengthen that or things like that. I mean, ChatGPT does that as well, but it sounded kind of interesting. Anyway, 168, 169 ends up holding here a couple of times today for Apple, guys.
All righty then. Yeah, look, we really liked Apple, and I'm going to stick with it because I had stated earlier that, first of all, let's get to the downside here, Amazon. But we had liked Apple short right off the open, and it was the very first trade that we were in. It started to break lower. We had mentioned that as long as, I mean, it's on the sticky note here. It's one of the ideas, so we want to trade it. And then it came up to the 200 period. We re-shorted it. I think we stay short this name. Like, I know it's a little bit more aggressive than the market right now. I am going to try this again, and I just wasn't here. But I didn't miss it. I was here for like the last 15 minutes. I was here for like about the first 35 or 40 minutes of how to trade during the midday. But this is what I would have said. Like, when you're looking at a stock like Apple here, and I'm sure this is what they covered, you're going to have to look for ranges and then past levels of support and resistance that kind of get retested. So like right here at 11:30, that's considered the midday, like 11:30. So it comes up there and it doesn't break it, and there's resistance up here. So when it doesn't break that and then falls like pretty good like that, I mean, first of all, Amazon's going down. I gotta get some out. You know what I'm saying? All right, so we'll get some out. But once it comes up there and fails like that, you can overlay the futures to make sure that the move was market wide. But there it is. It's a pretty good fail back into the low of the day. So I just feel that when you come back up here and test these levels again, that's just another area where you just dare it to try to break this. So I feel like these are really good shorts in this area. So I just put an offer right before right before we went on the air, right here at 169.15. So if we can get back into this area, that's what I want to do. I want to start the short here, and then I'm actually going to give it all the way up to here because I like the short. So I think we'll take a little bit of smaller shares, risk a little bit of a broader range here for Apple, but I do want to stay net short. And then I just got to get out by, what time did you say Frank's coming on? Like
3:30.
3:30. So as long as I'm out by 3:30 out of all these shorts, we should be good. But here goes Amazon to the downside.
Uber Drew in the chat just said Apple will never close below 170. So
how about starting today?
No, how about this? Because ES is not going to get green. And I said in the morning show we'll go Vegemite if ES gets green on the day. I'll double down on that by saying, I guess Apple can't get to close above 170 without the ES also going. But there's a slim chance that Apple could go on its own and the market doesn't go. So I will also have a spoon of Vegemite if Apple closes above 170 today. Now, the problem with Apple, and
I like that.
I got trapped into this by, it's not trapped because it's actually starting to go down now, but Adara was mentioning the barcode at Apple at 169. I'm like, ooh, look at this consolidation lower. I didn't get the Apple short off 169.5 this morning. Let's short this lower high. And then it just proceeded to do nothing. I'm like, I'll just it's not doing anything. Stupid, let's just get out a half for like a cent, which I did. And then it's just like, well, why did I do anything? It's still in the same range. So I held the other bit of it. And now it's basically moved 15 pennies. Like, this is ridiculous. But it's still, to me, a short. I still think we're probably retesting this 165, 167 area. I doubt we close above 170, but if we do, I will happily eat a spoonful of Vegemite because it will have been a major holding in my long-term account. Managed to bounce off these lows yet once again. They got some cool stuff coming out, but I feel like the real buyers are waiting to see what's going to go on middle of the year with their AI offering, so we'll see.
Huge bounce today for Robinhood. I was just noting all the way back to almost positive here, just 1.8% left to go. It was pretty ugly this morning at the lows. We tested $18 a couple of times, been straight higher ever since. A little bit of profit taking. I mean, this thing's had, beginning of February. Quite the run since the beginning of February. Bitcoin downside as well, so a little bit of profit taking, including from Miss Kathy Wood selling some ARK. Not only yesterday, but I was reading a couple tweets today as well. No clue how anyone knows that yet, but ARK selling Coinbase, Robinhood, some of the Bitcoin holdings, buying up Tesla the past couple of days here as well.
Oh man, so we actually left you guys. I like the Kathy Wood talk here, but we've already sort of had some examples of her. A little bit of missteps on a couple of the positions there, but we can look at ARK. We can look at ARK by itself and compare. Yeah. No, maybe I don't want to misspeak because I don't know how ARK is actually doing. We'll have to check it out. I mean, if it's outperforming, it's outperforming. But right now, Robinhood. So we actually are up on the stock, obviously, because our average price, there's a 19, there's a 19.20. We started getting first out at 7s, then that's an 01, then those are 03s, 03s. 4s, 96. So at least we broke once and we got a piece out there. I'm still fine holding this, but if we break this top, then forget about it. I like Robinhood. I like what they're doing. They've got a whole new customer base, apparently, is what they're saying. So they found youth, and they're starting to give some incentives. They had that cool credit card that I'm kind of jealous of, to be quite honest. Were you here? They have a gold credit card now. It's made of gold. I think the value of the credit card was, $1,000. So you have to refer 10 people that deposited, I'm assuming, a minimum amount into their credit card or get pre-approved. Yeah, trust me, I was like, I didn't believe it. But then I was Googling it, and yes, you go look it up, Robinhood Gold credit card. So anyways, or the reason why it's real is you could choose the card or 1,000 cash. Honestly.
It's not that I don't believe.
Yeah, it's a very aggressive promotion.
That is a very aggressive promotion.
So customer acquisition,
Straight
I'm guessing, is about $100 a person is what they're looking at. So you recommend, anyways, that's the story. So they did have a nice bump up there, but now you can see the last 4 days, Robinhood is giving it all back, and I feel like it goes lower from here. But I said, let's see if it fills the gap. And that gap I sort of meant was this move from here, from 13 basically up to this 16 where we baselined, and then we had earnings, and then it's been off to the races there. So I'm trying to think about buying some more or getting into Robinhood. If we get down to 14, 15, I like what they're doing, but I'd really like SoFi to get going, and that way I can use potentially some of this money.
They get SoFi can do a platinum card instead of gold.
They better give, maybe one Bitcoin or something.
You guys listening, SoFi?
Yeah, or at least give us tickets to your stadium. SoFi Stadium?
Yeah,
I
actually,
mean, what's up? That's pretty good.
The Rams are going to suck this year, but anyway,
Yeah, but still fun experience.
But look, you got to do something.
I'm not in marketing.
You got to do something. So Robinhood for me it's the same thing, but a little bit different because look, I liked the short off of 1920 into 1940, which eventually did happen, so that was a win. But I did kind of more aggressively than necessary short it underneath the $19 level and stop it out. So I'll go 1 for 2. I'm out of almost all of this when it made the push back in because the way I saw it, like if it was a failed short here off of this 1880 into 1890 at the time, if that was a fail, if I see this bounce off, like what was the short level that didn't work for me, if I see it flag up there and hold it as support, I just need to jam out. As a matter of fact, I might cancel this offer to get more shares. Like it's just, that's a little bit strong for me. So I ended up kind of punching out almost everything here. I hold a little piece for the dream if we can get down to VWAP. So I'm kind of with you. Like Robinhood it's actually looking pretty good under the hood lately, and it feels like it is showing some strength. When you get a Huadunk like this, and the response is to buy it at the open, if it holds on to 19 here, that would actually be a pretty good positive for them. That gold card sounds interesting, I suppose. But I did not know that, so I'm glad you mentioned it because
Yeah.
No, like I try to keep up with the markets when I'm on vacation, but like something like a Robinhood story is exactly the kind of thing that's going to drop under the radar for me. Like I'll know when something happens. Like the AMD, the chip thing. Of course, I'm going to know about that when I'm gone. But
someone said, I'm trying to find it in the chat. Someone said this is like a low-key promotion for Robinhood. So yeah, with that being said, if anybody wants us to drop any low-key promotions, I mean, let us know.
Look, we'll talk about anything that's interesting. But that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. No, they had their like investor day or new product innovation day or something, and that was something that was dropped. So, all right, let's go back over to the desk. It's Brendan.
I was watching a video, guys, on the weekend of that. Actually, somebody had the card itself, and they dropped it on a table, and it actually sounded like metal bouncing off a table. Like it was really heavy. I'll just take one of the cards if they wanted to. Anyway. Almost day highs coming into play here for Canoe. A little bit of volume behind this move as well, back to the upside. Not much to do here after the huge gap down this morning. Going concerns raised after the close yesterday. Revised forecast is a mess. Financials are a mess.
Yeah, you know what?
They're a mess, huh?
I feel like the new strategy for stock is talking about going concern issues or going bankrupt, and if you come down the gap in the pre-market, it's if you find a consolidation short level that doesn't break in the pre-market, short that, and then your move is when it's bottoming out at the open. Because how many times have we seen this where you go in for the reloads and it's just like, no, your short was that level and it was that level alone. So if you look at the chart, it's so obvious. Every short that was good was a consolidation breakdown shorts in the pre-market. And then the second the open hit, and I'm getting aggressive with it, I get fortunate enough that when I get short down here at 250, I get some 250 outs. And then I get some short up at 270. That just happens to work out. Then I reloaded at VWAP. That's absolutely no good. But then, lo and behold, what was the only other short level that worked? The original short when I sat down at 7 o'clock, right up at 290. Like the same thing. So the relief rally happens after the worst possible news you can get, which is talking going concern issues, and then you just have to wait it out for the absolute top. So that requires a ton of patience because everyone thinks the stock is going to go to zero right away. It doesn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way with Fisker. It didn't happen that way with Revlon. It kind of felt like it happened that way with Silvergate, but I suppose that was a different story.
Yeah, because they got liquidated. Basically.
Yeah, like Silvergate didn't really. I mean, there were kind of some bounces there, but I felt like it got really nasty quick. But when you have news like this and it's already under this much pressure and the float is small, sometimes you get a bounce at the open. And so my point is, if you get that good short in the pre-market, sometimes that's the best move. You don't have to go and reload it. All I ended up doing was, my high point was when the market opened on that stock and I gave back 30%. That was it. I could have just covered it at the open at the bottom and then not traded it again and it would have been better off. And there's nothing wrong with that. And maybe you can find yourself catching a bit of a long at that point. Speaking of going concerns, this is the point that I'm going to go to Nikola because it's the only other time to talk about Nikola. They're still a going concern. However, remember when I said wait for $1 to short it? Okay, Neil didn't wait for $1 to short Nikola. I shorted 92.5. That didn't work. I shorted 95, that didn't work. And then when I actually shorted the dollar level, that eventually worked. So I'll go 1 for 3 on Nikola. But if I only shorted the dollar, obviously that was the trade. wait for it to get back to the dollar level. It couldn't break back out above yesterday's close, and then it just flushed back into 92. This is what, when we say be patient in trading, it's not because that's some ridiculously easy thing to do. Everybody gets FOMO, especially when you think a stock should only be going down and you want to short it. Everyone's going to get the FOMO, but like sometimes you get a little bit too aggressive, and then when the getting is good, either you can be done or you can be frustrated with the stock. So Nikola's SSR down 10%. This is a day where, I know the market's only down 1%, but the litany of things that are getting their butt kicked.
I like
Not good.
I like Irv here in the chat. SoFi bounced off the 400 EMA. Okay. Eventually, we could be, this is what we say all the time. If there's a certain, technical level that you're looking at, I've never heard of the 400 EMA, but
I mean, in theory,
if it works, it's
in theory, you can just have.
he said long-term support.
I can put 1,000.
400 EMA. When did SoFi SoFi came in 2020? We can look back and see exactly. Maybe Irv's onto something here.
Or
we're such a good community.
Maybe he's trolling us.
I believe. Hey, look, I've already said I sat here and said I liked Robinhood better than SoFi. I didn't do anything about it, and still in SoFi as Robinhood.
Yeah, why didn't you? I own SoFi. I could have moved my money there too.
I think it was Billy. Someone said the card is stainless steel, so I don't know.
Oh, that's not
I just read the news.
Stainless steel. It's not gold.
I don't know. This is what this.
Well, the whole point is it's got to be. The whole point is
Google it and find out. I don't know. We don't have Robinhood up here. But I liked about the credit card that there was like a 3% cash or something like that. There was some good cashback programs, but.
Hold on, I'm gonna put a 400 period.
We'll look it up as Neil puts a 400 period EMA. Remember on your daily chart.
Oh, it's exponential. Okay, hold on.
EMA. Yeah.
I did
400 periods. Yeah. All right. We'll come back to that and let's go back over to the desk with Brendan, or not maybe.
Hi guys, how are you? No, that was the last one on the list, but again, two different things to keep in mind this afternoon. Frank is coming up later on this afternoon, 3:30. We'll get look at some macro type stuff, and ahead of, keep in mind, two more, not one, but two more jobs related prints coming up this week. We'll get the ADP number tomorrow morning. We'll get the non-farm payrolls data on Friday morning. So we'll tee that up with Frank coming up later on.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Brendo. So we are now done all of that. I just want to say that we are going to put another bid here at 19 on Robinhood because, we're coming back into this level again. If we could fill that, we'll just do that. I've just looked over at my positions. I don't want to keep talking about Robinhood, so let's move off of that. We are also on Amazon here. We were going short. We did get stopped out at 75, but then we started to sort of do the same thing here where we noticed a little bit of a top there. And the market's doing this. So I was just trying to look for something that I wanted to think about a short if the market were to fall, and something that was near its day highs and made kind of a top. So Amazon was that right here. That's why we got stopped out, because it broke higher. I don't want to hold this all the way to 181, so I'm just going to hold it to its past top, which is right here. So we take a short there at 69 against 80s. But again, short there, a couple outs, one last short and out, then again out, and then boom. So kind of a flattish trade to red until we get back into this area again. So we'll hold on to Amazon. That's going to be a trade we're looking for. We're also, Tesla's really getting to the downside now. Okay, I was hoping Tesla would sort of dance up here like the market's been doing, but it did come to the downside. So again, it's still a top P&L stock. Happy with it, but would have loved to have reshorted that at 168. We got out at 167, and then it never broke our 168. So we should have left that in there. Other than that, happy with everything else.
Oh, look, I put this up just because for my own personal interest, the SoFi 400.
Yeah.
But
yeah, what's it looking like?
I accidentally put up a simple first, so I can.
Off fire or?
No, so for clarification, the red is the simple and the purple is the exponential. So it bounced today off this 400 simple.
That looks nice.
The exponential's there. This is, so I think it's bouncing off that simple. But I've never used the 400. I'm going to put back the 200 because that's what I actually use. But yeah, I've never used the 400 period before. So whether that's a thing or not, let me just put the 200 back on because that's what I actually care about. So apply, enter. But yeah, so it is what it is. We'll see what happens. SoFi is not a trade for me, but I do want to go back over to what is moving. Or kind of moving anyways. Look, Apple over here, we talk about VWAP all the time, But this is, when we say there's something range bound, like this is getting ridiculous. Like the actual play is you need to be getting filled as tight to like 15, like 10 to 20, and then get out at 90. I know that sounds weird, but that's really the trade on Apple. And going back to, we didn't talk about the chips, like AMD was, to me, like it was relatively easy this morning. Okay, like you missed the early pop because everything just tanked at the open. But then it popped into VWAP. That was a good short. You short VWAP a couple times. They're shorted it 3 more times, went 2 for 3. I stopped out or trailed out there at 175.50. And then from there, I short 77s into 76 half. Okay, it's working. It's going to go again. No stop out. Then I shorted again off that high. And then it runs that stop and comes back in. Suddenly you have this slight upward trend that I just need to see reasons for this to fall. Like I just don't want to be jumping back into this and getting chopped up because it's been that kind of a day. So maybe find some tight ranges to play into where you know you want a range bound trade. Be patient for the things that you're expecting to move a little bit here. I just see in the chat, Chill Vibe saying you kind of want to go long. It's hard. I don't 100% disagree with, like there's got to be, if we hold this higher low and break out the top, I think you want to have some strong names in the back of your pocket. There's just not a heck of a lot that I'm in love with. There was Google this morning, which I talked myself out of the Alphabet long all morning long. Because I was just like, oh, we're so bearish and all the money got made short. And I'm still short everything. Like I have no long positions. And I talked myself out of going long in Alphabet, which was 100% a fail. So I'll slap the fail on myself for not double bottom, higher low, holds above VWAP. Like, what's your excuse? I don't have one. Probably should have just stuck to that. Stick to your guns if you thought it was strong. 52-week high break yesterday that ends up holding the breakout level. This is 152. If you look at the 15-minute here, let's pop this back out. So where did it bounce today? Pulls right back in, tries to fill in the gap, and bounces exactly, technically, where you would want a bullish stock to have bounced post-breakout when it fills in the gap. Fills it into the wick, and then bounces back to the upside. So, Alphabet was the one. I'm not in it. I got to find a long. VWAP's going to stand out. I don't want to chase the top here. But if we can find a long off VWAP on Alphabet, I think that could be the place to go.
So, yeah, I agree. That's looking like it could break that 154 and start to head higher. All right, we have a new position alert. It's going to be Palantir. And then I was going to say, I was at the lovely campus of U of T, and despite wearing my Palantir hat there as it was raining out, we will go short Palantir. So we're short Palantir right now. Yeah, no friends in this business, baby.
It saves your head from
Yes, it saves my head
water.
from basically water, so nothing. And then, as you can see right here, we'll go short. So why I'm doing that, I said I wanted to find something that was still, weak on the day. Fine, Palantir fits that bill. That's had a really nice move up. I understand that this is completely going against the trend, but I feel like counter trend is fine for right now. The volume is really, if the volume was going right now and we had reasons to believe that there was a market turnaround immediately coming or that this momentum, there we go, like there it is right there. Honestly, that's it. We just got a 50, we just got a 58. What am I short? 57, out 51. We're only out at 10%, so whatever. But there's the little pullback in Palantir. Again, pay the bills, put a little bit of money in there. But what I was looking at was this. So there's 70, there's 70, there's 70. So we spent a lot of time above it yesterday. We spent half the time below it. So here's below, here's above, and then forget about what happened in the morning there. But, so that's what I'm doing. I'll stay short here. If I think the market's going to fall down a little bit, then we'll watch out for this. So we're going to be short Palantir. So there's a new trade idea. Let's see if it will work out for us. Who knows? I like it, and it's a short on Palantir starting now. So that's going to be that trade for me. We do have another bid in the mid-40s. See if we can get down there. That 50 period is at, it's 48. We'll change that and put a bid down there near 48. We're still not into Apple, but I do like it. Like we had mentioned, we have some guests coming through, so that should be a fun afternoon for everybody. But let's just put some orders out and get this all figured out here. So we'll bid some Palantir down here. We're on Robinhood already. Did we get that fill on Robinhood? No. So 03? I'm at 02. Okay, let's just go to 04. I don't know. We're just trying to play around. So what I mean by volume, I don't know if you look at individual stocks, but here's the market. This is the market. Okay, good. You guys can see. Look at the volume early. Lots of volume, lots of volume, lots of volume. Look what's happening right now. No volume, no volume, no volume. So I feel like we're really barcoding, and this is going to be a good opportunity to build some positions. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like what's happening is the market knows we have some guests coming on, so we're slowing down. We're going to be able to focus in for sure. Yeah. But as you mentioned, I was just saying I wanted to find a long, and I do like Google, but I'm going to go back to Starbucks because I actually want to short Starbucks again. Now, I had the long, when we left you guys, I was long in front of 90 on a S-Bucks here, and it was that level on the daily chart that we're breaking for support, but I said I'm reversing if it can't hold, so we did. The short was obviously better than the long, shorted the 90 breakdown, got it all out at 89.40, so just under the 50 level, but now it's consolidating underneath that 90. So you have 89.70 or so is the lower high. So Starbucks down 2%. There was that random move yesterday in the afternoon which put it on my radar, but then it just broke the 90. And once that happened, you had to be short. I want to short off of this consolidation range. So I already I'm holding on to Apple, Robinhood, and Nikola to the short side, but I want to add Starbucks. If I get VWAP on Google, great. I don't want to fight it if we're not going to get that trade. Why did we not mention Reddit? We'll talk about Reddit right now.
I meant to. It broke its IPO price.
Yeah, look, I didn't trade Reddit today. So, like a lot of times you get lost in the sauce, and you're going to talk about the stocks, obviously, that we were trading today. Reddit bounced off that IPO.
Is there not?
Did it? I don't know if it barely broke. If it broke by pennies.
That's probably why it's up 9%. Maybe it's that bounce.
Yeah, it bounced by like 25 cents, I think. It broke the IPO low, and then.
You know more about the moon than I do, I would think. I just heard in my ear NASA is trying to, this one? Oh yeah, there's that.
This one.
They wanted to get an international time zone standard for the moon? What does that mean? Like, I guess it's just for when you go to the moon, you can declare what time you landed? And then it would be the same for like Russians, because... Anyways, news story there.
That's it. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, the whole point is that if you're in space, the day revolves around the times and where you are on the globe and all that kind of nonsense. But when you're in space, you want a point of reference for communication purposes.
That's what I was thinking.
So if you ever going to
thought there would have been already one. Existing.
If you were going to colonize the moon, like you would want to have
which they're doing
that,
for sure.
Like at some point.
By the way, Amazon here. Let's go spin it. It's a nice little trade here for Amazon. So let's hit the siren. And get going. I mean, there it is. It's a nice move to the downside right now for Amazon, continuing to make lows against its afternoon levels. So if we can continue to come down to the downside, boom, we'll go there. Then we'll hit the 200 period moving average. And then we will say, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But there it goes. Nice little downside move there. We'll watch out for Palantir. Palantir's not cooking at all. But we have another out. We got out at 50, so far so good on that one. And then Apple's still 50 cents in the money. So we'll ride the bear here right now and figure out if we can get a little lower on some of these plays. So Amazon's really cooking now. Down now 30 cents, 35 cents now. Starting to go lower. We just put a bid in the 30s. We'll take this fill. I mean, we'll take some of these. Nice little pushback here for Amazon, coming back in off those highs. So. All right, did we get that? No, we didn't. We're at 37s. Give it to us. We're on ARC or NASDAQ or something. But hopefully that comes back in, so a good little short there. I want to stay net short. Honestly, power hour's coming, 3 o'clock. Hopefully the volume can pick up a little bit here. 3 or 4 red candles in a row. Let's just break this bottom, and then we'll figure out potentially lower from here.
You open up a can of worms when we start talking about the moon. Now we're getting things like no one has landed on the moon yet.
Has anyone landed on the moon? They put that flag there, but then wasn't it wind that was blowing the wrong way or something?
Look, I know you're trolling me right now.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Have you been to the moon? Is there anybody that you know that's been to the moon?
I know because I love science fiction.
Like I've seen Santa Claus.
I know you're trolling me right now. Obviously, we're Canadian, but obviously.
You think we would have figured it out by now? I'm pretty sure we've been to this.
Yeah, I mean, of course. The whole, it's a hoax. There's a fantasy.
But the world being flat is probably true.
Yeah.
That part's probably.
Here's my. I'm going to tie this into the Buffalo Bills because I can do that for anything. If you've never seen it, there's a fantastic movie called Capricorn 1 where they actually did the whole story is that they faked the moon landing.
Right.
And it's the plot of the movie. It's a really good movie.
Which, of course, they did not fake.
With O.J. Simpson was in it. It's one of the 3 things he did that was actually not bad. The
best thing was Naked Gun.
Naked Gun number one.
Yeah.
Also, number one, obviously being a football player.
Being well, your Hall of Fame running back, yeah.
Number two, of course, being the Naked Gun. Number three being the movie Capricorn 1. He was in a couple of other decent films. I want to get to Nikola if I can for a second, because it's making a decent run back above VWAP. So we had to short off the $1 level. It just bounced off 91. So I want to look for a reload off this under 97 here. And then if it pops, if it pops up, I'm not going to give it to $1. Let's tighten up the stop. Instead of giving it like $1, $1.02, I'm just going to reload it off of this level and then see if we can't get back into the 91. So, obviously waiting for the $1 level was the way to go. Shout out to Sam, who's a Bills fan as well. All are welcome, to each their own, but the right team to cheer for is the Buffalo Bills. I want to get back to Starbucks. Whether or not I get into the fill on Starbucks, I just like the range. It's a weak stock. Since it broke the $100 level, so the $90 level, it's been relatively weak. It's underneath, it's holding off the bottom, so I want to get this short close into 89.60 at resistance. So if we play the range, it's a good 30 cents worth of range where I might have to only risk 5 to 10 cents. And if I can do that, no problems. AMD, what the...
We got...
Yep. See, this is why I'm not in AMD. This is why I'm not in AMD. Because it's like you're just getting chopped up if you keep trying to short this off the levels from the morning. Like, it was good in the morning to short it. This is not looking like a short. Show me some sellers up here like it was in the morning at 178 when you were instantly rejecting this. So AMD might be down 3%, but it's not behaving that way now. And you got to respect what the market's telling you. It's telling me that these chips are not as weak as they were in the AM when it was easy going for any of the short trades.
Yeah, we will. Let's just drop a little bit more cash down here. As you can see, we do have a nice little trade on Amazon. We just got covered there into the bottom of this day. So again, the short into there, a quick cover right at the bottom. Let's see if we can continue to fall down a little bit here. We're out of about a third or so, or sorry, we only have a third left. We're out of 2/3 of this trade. And first out was the first level of support. Second out down here in the 30s, mid-30s actually, so we did pretty good there. And we'll wait to see on that one. Robinhood still not doing a whole heck of a lot. We'll sit here around 1904, 1905 for Robinhood, and then our Apple trade is what it is as well. But without any further ado, we have a very, very special in-house guest. So that's very important, and that's very nice to see. So we're going to go over to the desk with Brendan.
Exactly. Yeah, we're very excited. As I teed it up earlier this afternoon, we have the guys from Cannabis with us this afternoon. David Hart, CEO, President, Jesse Shannon with us. How are you guys? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Let's maybe start with just a broad overview of the company. If somebody is new to Cannabis and is wanting a little bit more, wanting to know a little bit more information, give them the prospectus here and the overview.
Sure. So the Cannabis Company, we're a multi-state operator in the United States. We're in 15 markets. We've got 85 dispensaries and just over 30 cultivation manufacturing facilities. We're in a number of the markets that people talk about converting to adult use, so markets that matter. We've got big representation in markets like Virginia, Ohio, New Jersey, Maryland. We're in the state of New York. We're out in Colorado. We're also in Florida. So we're arguably, we've been around for a long time. We sort of coined the phrase, I think at times, calling ourselves a multi-state operator. So we're diversified across the country. We're arguably in phase 3 of the evolution of this company. The first phase was planting flags throughout the country where we were going through traditional RFP processes to actually win licenses and to scale. We invested a lot of CapEx building out the opportunity for cultivation manufacturing. And then ultimately, we're now sweating these assets. So we went through an opportunity to combine with the business. We're now on our own. And the opportunity from a margin perspective, from an organic growth perspective with the markets that are converting to adult use is sort of right in front of us for 2024.
One of those things that the company has integrated and expanded upon a little bit, Jesse, I'll throw this at you. This is the wholesale aspect of the business. Tell everyone a little bit about the wholesale approach.
Yeah, look, it's an exciting time because obviously we have a wholesale change, no pun intended, to the wholesale business. But as we came out of the potential merger with Cresco, we really had an opportunity to evaluate all the areas of the business and find out where we were going to be able to gain the most efficiency, the most scale very quickly, and wholesale jumped right out. It's a big culture change in the way that we're treating wholesale moving forward. Big focus on finished goods, on third-party partnerships. There's been a lot of sort of excitement and buzz in the markets as we launch some of our brands, some of our partners' brands into the space. Ultimately, we are focused on a better business, not necessarily a bigger business. So as we continue to rebuild from the ground up in wholesale, it's really all about utilizing the facilities that we have, which are incredible facilities. We have amazing teams on cultivation and manufacturing, and getting those products into consumers' hands. So wholesale is a big opportunity for us there.
Give everyone, you touched on it a little bit there, give everyone a little bit of detail or expand a little bit on the partnership side of things, because that's exciting.
You know, David's spoken about it previously on other calls. You know, we have the incredible opportunity to grow into a number of facilities where, you know, we almost sort of took our medicine early, right? So CapEx was deployed into these markets. We have incredible opportunities for scale. That means that we need to be putting more plants under lights and more products through those facilities. Our own first-party brands give us a great opportunity to do that, bringing in tier one incredible brand partnerships like an Old Pal or an Arrow or a Revelry or any of these announcements that you'll see coming from us over the next couple of months also give us an opportunity to not only increase the utilization of those facilities, but make sure that we're delivering our consumers the brands that they want to see on shelf, not just on our shelves, but bringing some of these brands into states where they've never been represented before. We think that's an incredible opportunity and honestly a responsibility as an MSO to help do that.
The guy's in town, by the way, to ring the bell over at our friends at CBOE Canada, recent listing on CBOE Canada Exchange. David, let's touch on, there's been a recent management transition with the CEO, and let's touch on how that has affected operations and what you're planning on moving forward from here.
Sure. So we announced some transitions back in August of last year when we broke with the Cresco transaction. And what we ended up doing was splitting the back of house to the front of house. So historically, we were managed in a sort of a vertically integrated way where we had single P&L leaders throughout the country. What we opted to do was actually change the structure so that we gave people more specificity across the supply chain, but larger territories. And that's something you have to do as the market evolves and becomes more competitive across the supply chain. And then Jesse and I were elevated in mid-January. And so I think, you know, former title was COO. So when we talk about the phase 3 for us of really sweating the assets, it's going through every one of our markets and finding the opportunities to gain efficiencies, to gain scale. We've got Canopy, as Jesse mentions, that we need to continue to put plants under lights. We've got margin opportunities there. We're a large business, right? In 2023, we were north of $500 million of revenue, so we're a large MSO, and we've got margin to go get. It's very clear. We've heard from stakeholders, we've heard from investors and analysts. That's the opportunity for us. And when we've talked to the investment community about how we're going to look different, that's what we're going after. It's the margin enhancing opportunities. Right. It takes a couple of quarters to get there, but we're going to look very different by the end of 2024. That's our priority.
Give everyone an update on the financials of the company now that this transition has happened and what we're looking forward to going into the future.
Sure. So again, 2023, over north of $500 million in revenue across the entire country. We've got markets that are going through growth through adult use conversion. So we're a leading player in New Jersey. We're in Maryland that went through adult use. Ohio is front and center next for us to go through adult use conversion. Every time there's a conversion, there's opportunities for incremental transaction volume growth, new patients, new customers come into the market. And so the focus for us is not necessarily the top line growth opportunities, it's really about the margin enhancing opportunities. So getting more out of our assets, getting more transaction volumes through the back of house, as Jesse mentioned, bringing in those third party brand opportunities, again, just more transaction volume across the pipeline for us gives margin opportunities. And at the end of the day, it's really about generating cash flow. So we gave that as a priority in the middle of 2023 to go after incremental cash flow generation. We talked about getting to that at the end of the year. We actually did in Q3 of last year and then again in Q4 of last year. So again, 2024, it's all about margin enhancement and cash flow generation. Great stuff. It's an exciting time. Again, anyone wanting more information, symbols at the bottom of the screen there, CBOE Canada, CBST is the ticker symbol, OTCQX for our friends south of the border, CBSTF. David Hart, CEO, and President Jesse Shannon. Good to see you guys. Thanks so much.
Good to see you, man. Thanks.
There you go. David, thank you, Jesse, for sure. And always a good chance to an opportunity to ring the bell. That's always got to be fun.
that'd be great.
I'm only saying this because I bust Sean's every single time, is you had an opportunity to ring the bell at the exchange at the TS.
TMX.
Now the TMX or the TSX.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And it's one of those things we take for granted, like the capital markets and the opportunities that it gives you sometimes in terms of, for all of us investing in the future, the opportunity for companies to grow and get capital and then for us to be able to trade as a livelihood. And I think it puts it into perspective when you visit the NYSE or you visit the TMX and have that.
No, I just want to say something.
It's such a cool thing.
Yeah, something that I believe Jesse said that I think is important. Building a better business, not a bigger business.
That's key.
You want to start somewhere, make sure that, all your in-house is correct, and then if you build it, they will come, and I think that that's something very, very important. So you want to try to respect that. I wrote that down. Build a better business, not a bigger business. I really like that. So check out Cannabis right there. CBOE.
It's that assumption that
there's also an OTC market listing.
Well, that was actually I was gonna mention that too. For some of you in the U.S., if you are looking, you are able to look at that over in the OTC markets
exactly.
As well, just in case you are curious. It's pretty much the same symbol. But as you said, sometimes when you're talking about growth, it is not about just jamming right away. And I think that's true of trading as well, because I like to bring everything back into trading. Like, become a better trader, then scale. Don't try to just, hey, day one, let's just toss around as many shares as we have in our account. Like, build that process. Trust the process. It might not work for the Philadelphia 76ers, but it will work for you in business and as a trader.
Let's see if the team from Cannabis likes this. If they can watch the screen here, you got Weed Batman. Watch this. There it is. You see, we had that little. How come we don't have the sound on there? There it is.
There we go.
There we go. So let's go and watch that. There's been a nice run in some of the names, so definitely watch the space. We talked about MSOS. All right. So while you were gone, we had a nice move back in for the NASDAQ. Came in there into the bottom again, and you could see what we talked about. A little bit of an increased volume spike there coming in the last 10 minutes, giving us this move down. So that's what we did. We got more out on Amazon. So we'll just sort of start to again. Enjoy this last hour. It's coming up. We'll see if there's any movements happening right now. It's been a pretty slow day as far as the markets. A pretty slow afternoon. I shouldn't comment on the day. The day's been pretty wild, down 1 1/4. But the S&P hasn't had. Remember, we said that 280 greater than 5 days right now of a less than 2% move. So we've never had a 2% move in the S&P 500 in the last 285 trading days. That's more than a year. So we're going to have to, hold our breath and see if it gets to anywhere like that today. Of course, the NASDAQ was close. I think it was down 1.6, something like that. Crypto's really bounced back 65,000. We can look at Coinbase as well as a possible trade, but we'll also take questions or if there's any sort of names you guys want us to look at, obviously we'll call those up as well and be able to figure that out. So Coinbase, a nice baseline again down there at 244, 244.50. We'll see if we get back up to 246, 246.50, where you may want to look for a short there. Look at this volume spike right there on coin. So maybe a news piece out, I don't know, something. So 130 or so.
Because, and I wanted to make this point, but I'm going to go to Nicola first. But if you look at Coinbase, I want to really come back to that. But I'm out of Nicola. I said sometimes you can have a trailing stop, and you're like, well, I might as well just get back in. And I think it's a key level at 97, and I want to adjust to trail out at 97. So I'll just add back in at 96.7 or 96.6. And if it breaks 97, I just get out of it. If I reload the trade, it's a small amount of risk. And if it flushes back into the low, great. I was going to trail out of the last of my shares when I got the dollar fill anyway. So, but when you showed me that Coinbase chart, I was looking at Mara. And you note the spike in Coinbase. That was at 148.
Yep. Down. Yeah, exactly. 143 or
okay. Yeah. So at 148,
52.
It's right in somewhere.
Yeah.
Mara does absolutely nothing and is still holding underneath VWAP.
But this is
Coinbase. I know Coinbase is going, and it's its own beast. I know I was short Mara this morning, and again, I probably could have stuck with this and shorted again at 2030. But I think this is looking. It's obviously not looking newly bearish. But now you're going to close back underneath the 50 period, which is at 22. You're about to close potentially under $20 underneath this support level. You could be heading back to that magical $16, $17 area, which has been pretty good on Mara. I know what's wrong. I changed this when I was doing that thing with the SoFi. I changed the color of my 200 period moving average from purple to red, and now it's bothering me. I'll change that back. I'm just used to it being purple. But I think Mara is gravitating back down in. And if we get a pullback to 60,000, Mara is a sure bet to be at 16. I know the halving is coming, but that's not good for the miners. This looks like it's going to be under pressure. I feel like yesterday in the afternoon, I was thinking that this had a chance to double bottom and break out in the long. It did absolutely nothing with that long. This afternoon, I'm thinking differently. I'm kind of feeling like I should be shorting back into 20 on Mara, especially now that I see that move in Coinbase. I see Coinbase bounce. I saw Bitcoin making a decent bounce in its own right. Like, this is BTC above VWAP and looking stronger, yet Mara is languishing down here underneath VWAP, underneath $20. I think this is a short into 20 this afternoon.
I just want to get just a quick little, because it's coming into the power hour right now. Oh, First of all I was going to say is let's get these likes up here a little bit right now. I know Sharif's not here, but maybe we should remind people of who Sharif is. And hit that like button. Let's see if we can get up to 500. Do you not have it, or?
What?
Oh, I know Sharif's not here, but let's remind people who he is.
You know what? I was in La La Land for a second.
Yeah, and
that's
we get
my
some
bad.
likes counted. Let's see if we get up to 500. There
Subscribe
it
and
is.
share it, the show that takes you into the heart of the market.
I mean, I should have that button anyway.
Oh, hold on a second. No.
Hit the like and the subscribe.
Take this opportunity to like and subscribe to
Yeah,
our
but again,
YouTube
we need to
channel.
refilm that because it's in a sweater.
There's lots of bags.
Well, what just happened to that?
Yeah, you see, it's very like, it's too many bangs there.
Uh-oh.
I was getting bored of, oh no, does that mean something if we start to slow down on the graphics? Are we losing a cloud power here? I'm getting bored of this Palantir trade, man. It did not break 50. It held it like a champ. I'm getting out if it breaks this top at 60. That's that. Honestly, it'll be a flat trade. Like, we're short here at 57 or 57. So we'll take a 5-cent hit. We took 7 cents. Took 6 cents, then 7 cents. I'm just getting bored of it, honestly. I'd rather just watch something that's potentially moving. So we've already had a nice trade there in Amazon, and I'm going to turn it over to you guys now. Okay, the Qs. Yeah, we could look at the Qs. I'd rather look at TQs if we're going to do anything. Palantir's hitting around. Just checking on some of these scanners. Oh, this was a name that I want to talk about until we changed our mind for some reason. I want to look at Ford because Ford, again, is now above 13, and it was having a nice run those last couple days. I don't know. If I think the market's going down, is it not about time to sell Ford? I mean, Ford's all the way back to this is July. So you're talking about we haven't really been above where we are, save for 1 month in the summer where we got there. Since then, we've really been sort of hovering in and around this 13. I mean, ideally, I think 14 if you have patience and we get a good number from Ford. I mean, let's see, when does Ford report? I don't want to wait too long. April 24th, so that's perfect. This is well in the pocket now. You're in your 3 weeks, heading into earnings. It's having a nice ramp up. So I would think at and around earnings season, if we're anywhere in the next couple weeks, in and around 14, I mean, maybe a 14 put, something like that, maybe worth it. Maybe you get the call now into 14 and then make sure you exit in. I don't know, then flip it around. But I think this 14 would be a great out for anybody on Ford. So that would be something to look forward to.
I just made a request to Fabian and I put him in the chat because as you're doing that, what I want to be able to do, because we talk so many times, we'll go from day trading to maybe look at something like a Ford for a swing or a longer term type of play. And I just want to be able to respond with a key, and I'll just either be able to pump it or dump it. Because in that particular sense,
good one.
the only thing I wanted to respond to, I just wanted to hit a key that said dump it.
Yeah.
Because I agree 100%, and I actually I'm getting out of my Ford if it breaks support, and if it gets up to 14, I'm going to throw an offer out myself. I'm just putting a stop in on the shares that I have. I'm tired of that stock, and it's not strong, and it's not going well. And if you look at what GM is doing, I would almost say there's GM. I mean, Sean just showed you the Ford chart. But if you look at GM off the bottom, which is it's not a double up off the lows, but it's not that far off of a double up. And it broke out of a resistance spot. So this would be what it would look like if Ford had broken 15, let alone the $14 level. And so you see that happen. It's like, well, what are we doing for it? If we reclaim that 50 and the 200 period, that's a problem. So I'm gonna say dump it. If I had the key, I'd hit it. I don't, but we're gonna get it for sure. And by the way, pump it just means, hey, I like it. Let's go long. I agree with the bullish calling it. Not that we don't pump stocks, man. I'll tell you how pissed off I am about SoFi. I hope it goes up.
Yeah, let's just try to pump Tesla and see how far that goes.
Yeah, I mean, we're not moving SoFi, but
I can't believe how bad of a company Amazon is right now because I'm short. I think we should all short Amazon into hell. They're the worst company ever.
Yeah.
I like Amazon.
No, we actually like Amazon.
WeWork is targeting, yeah, I know. They had that Adam Newman there. Shout out to Matt there. Oh, by the end of May. Okay, maybe that's a new story there for
Newman.
Did I just hear somebody?
I
You said Newman. I was like, did I just hear someone whisper something?
No, man,
there?
I can't.
Okay,
you know
yeah,
me.
Newman.
If you say Newman, I'm gonna do it. If there's a line,
that is that guy's
I'm just,
name, I think, isn't it?
You know, his name is Adam Newman, but come on, man. He's.
Yeah, I know. That's a Seinfeld thing. We try to watch that.
It's
every night at 11 o'clock in our house around there. But then the wife likes it but doesn't love it, so I have to put up with stuff like that. And then there's King of Queens on, and she doesn't really like King of Queens that much. I don't know.
Marissa and I are going to have a discussion.
No, she likes it.
Who doesn't like? You don't like Seinfeld that much?
No, she likes Seinfeld, but no, it's not her favorite. I don't know. I'm going to ask her what one of her favorite sitcoms is, actually. I should really know this. So we really...
I'm keeping my mouth shut because it's your anniversary today, so I don't want to say anything. Marissa's, I love Marissa. Marissa's fantastic. We've known her for a long, obviously I've known her for a long time, was at the wedding. And, you know, like, happy life. But Seinfeld...
We are not good at pumping.
Seinfeld... You don't love Seinfeld?
No.
What do you mean we're not good at pumping? I can pump. No, we don't pump stocks.
That's why we don't practice the art of that.
No, and actually, to be perfectly honest with you, like I was. So when I started trading in 03, my first success, I didn't start trading penny stocks. My first success was actually trading on penny stocks. And one of the things that I actually couldn't stand, if you I traded penny stocks every single day. I hated when one of those started turning into like a pump stock that was kind of like getting pumped on BS, because it took it from trading a style that was cool to like, okay, now you just got a whole different set of rules, and now it's just making no sense, and there's people trying to manipulate it and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't like trading it when that was happening. It was just better to trade it when it wasn't as much manipulation. So that is what it is. If there's some runners that you guys are seeing, like, let me know. Like there's a stock that there's something popping up on my halt scanner the midday, but there hasn't been a single halt since noon on anything, and I have some scanners up for anything that might be going in the afternoon. I know there's some weed names going. I know this is not just because of the guests that we had on, but CGC is at a double top today and a potential triple top if you look at yesterday at that $9 level. So there is a potential breakout happening in the cannabis names. Double top $9 on CGC. That's not bad. The volume is not the best for a breakout play. I know I said yesterday, if it broke 7, I'd be taking a short flat bottom break. Obviously, that didn't happen, and that's the good thing with a breakout or breakdown. You don't have to take the trade. But $9 is incoming here. NK says, look at NVIDIA. We can look at it. This is, what do you do with NVIDIA? If you could get VWAP 888, 890, maybe there's a bounce play in there. I don't want to be, I feel like when NVIDIA does a reversal, I don't like shorting it at anything but the best price. Because if you do that, then you're just like it's gonna probably get there if it's bullish. So if you're shorting it, you need 900, you need 905. You're not trading 895. So I'm gonna step away from that loaded gun and wait for a better price if we're gonna trade some NVIDIA. It's not close enough to VWAP or an 890. I'm just not a huge fan. Matt Carnes up 100% in options in CGC.
They have 20% plus now.
Oh wait.
We have the cannabis one.
Yeah, actually.
It's also congratulations. I mean, it's the right one.
Yeah, but no, I didn't hear the sound on it. That's all.
Oh, they turned it down because we had those guests in there. So
Gotcha.
You don't want to scare everyone away. What did you get, Matt? What is CGC up right here? I was just thinking about getting some more. I just want to talk about Amazon again. We just came into 30 there.
18%.
I'm going to put 18%. So there it is. Yeah, so that would make sense. I thought if it hit around 20, you would start printing a little bit there. Yeah, so we talked about it. So here it is right here. This is me and my wife. Obviously, this is us in Piazza Navarro, in Italy, and that was a really nice time. So thank you everybody for there. As it just continues.
Where is that, sir?
At Piazza Navarro.
Oh, I'm just gonna make you give me a list anyway.
Yes, you'll know. It's by.
No, I'm not gonna know. I'm gonna ask you for a list of what I should do, and then you're gonna just tell me. So I'm going to Rome. Sean's already been to Rome. I've never been to Italy. I'm going for the first time with my wife this year. So I'm just literally gonna ask Sean where to go.
Yeah, no, it's. This is an amazing square. Let me see the images here. Just the water fountains. So this is actually a good view of it.
Oh my God.
So we're sitting in one of these restaurants. Like one of these ones on the actual piazza there.
I could just spend a day going from one to the other.
Yeah, and like the Vatican
so
is,
beautiful.
This not it, but it's off in the distance there. Yeah, man, trust me. I don't know. Maybe
and then get a real pizza.
I mean, I know Brendan's down with this, but Trader TV Live could just move to Italy.
Well, you know what Brendan said. We had
Brendan
just
already signed up.
Dude, we had just come to YouTube. Like Trader TV Live was brand new, and Brendan was already saying, let's do a Trader TV Live Europe, and then he wanted to go over there, whether it's Italy, France, he doesn't care. But I look forward to it. I can't wait. Bitcoin Trader saying I love Rome. 100%. Like I feel like you gotta enjoy life a little bit. And this time we're taking my daughter. So I went to Paris, and it was for my wife's 40th, and that was fantastic. But we're gonna be going to Rome. I'm gonna enjoy it. That's what it's all about. Let's see what happens here, because I said AMD, let's not short it, or at least I wasn't gonna short it. It's just wicking this 178. The market's starting to go. So I feel like this might start to break out. And Google was the thing that I wanted long. I missed VWAP. It's not getting to VWAP. It could just start to hold 154 in here. And I want to look for an opportunity to be long Alphabet, especially if we're going to rally into Frank at 330. Although it's worth noting, we've already bounced, and it's now power hour, which is what everyone likes to wait for. So maybe the 154 could be the way to go. If I play it, I got to play it off VWAP or 153.70. So I'm going to look to buy the next dip in Google as opposed to the breakout. Jamlocity, look at ACB strength. Why, is it stronger than CGC? No. Aurora is stronger than CGC? It can't be.
Aurora?
It is. It's up 20. CGC was up 18. This is up 20%.
All right. I feel
But look at the barcode. It was a double top breakout on CGC setting up. Aurora's got this, hey, we're trying to break out the split high thing happening, and it rejected that today, and now you're getting a decent consolidation high. This doesn't look bad. Maybe like a 530 break. It doesn't look bad. It's not Jamlocity. I keep saying that. It's Jamlossy. Am I saying that? Jamlossy? How do you want us to say that? I always say Jamlossy, but
which one?
In the chat there, Jamlossy, Jamlossy. I have no idea. But look at ACB strength. No, it's up over 20%. It's another reverse split special where you get the smaller float. Now you can go squeezing. But it probably needs to take out 530. You know how I felt about this when we traded at CXAI? What I would like to do with a trade like this is if you like the long, just try to pick it up in here at 15 and then give it to 5. And that way, if it breaks out the consolidation, you're already in the long. It's going sideways. There's support down here at $5, it looks like. And then if it gets to the high of the day, you're already in the trade. I generally prefer that as opposed to taking the breakout. And then you're taking the breakout and giving it to $5, which is twice the amount of risk. And then if it gets to the high of the day, you haven't made as much. Give me the dip buy if you can get it.
What? So now that the market's starting to rip upside here, we didn't get our hood fill. We've got lots out on Amazon. We have about 15% left of Amazon. That's a nice move up. So I want to try to get a nice trade on. I was thinking about NVIDIA basically going long, breaking through 900, to be honest with you, because that's the high of the day. We made it there. It was also this little sort of dark pool and 8 o'clock movement there. We had 900 in our sights yesterday, and we shorted here yesterday afternoon. We had this trade down in, and it's kind of basing out to be the same if we want to take the short again against 898 and then get out at 8 and get out. Basically, we could give it to 901. So what you have to always ask yourself is that if you start building this position, so we start taking it here at 897.50 or something, is there going to be $3 worth of risk back to the downside? So that's 97.50, so give us $3, 94. So we have to get at least to the 200 period, which would make sense. That's fine. We're willing to do that. So maybe that's the trade there. But then with the momentum going up so much here, we've just gone up now, basically $5 in 20 minutes. Would like to fade it, but would rather get a lot closer to 900.
Yeah.
So that's coming up right now. Maybe we should look at AMD or something like that, because that could be a different trade altogether. But NVIDIA's still weak, but the market's getting going here. We actually looked at this earlier, and it's kind of silly because we should have just took some futures long, because we looked at this and said 18.2 at the beginning of the day. When this was coming in, I was like, where could we stop? And I was like, maybe 18.2. It's an easy 100 level. I mean, anybody could sort of looked at this and said the same thing. But that is where we wound up stopping, pretty much exactly at those levels. So if tomorrow we come in and we're around this and we break lower, then we are going to go to this 18.050 level or so. So you do have another red day coming tomorrow, especially if we get under this level. But if we can hold above it, then potentially we float back up to that 18.5 level again. So the NASDAQ has just been so resilient. It seems like it doesn't want to go. It had a chance to go there today and stopped. So do we really want to stand in the way of NVIDIA is going to be the question. I say yes and probably want to go short this name. AMD down 3%, so this would maybe make more sense if we actually believe in the short, because this is coming up to a level that we could probably get behind right now immediately. This 178 little wick right there before we had that huge move down, this could be a level right there. 178.50, oh man, that's too bad. We could have shorted that 178 against 178.50 easily, because the 50 cents is easily in this name. I mean, you have $1.50 back to VWAP, so Okay.
The other one too.
Yeah, then probably is there Micron or
Intel
here
40.
Here comes AMD.
Intel to 44. Like it just gave you 95s. Like you'd be shorting 95s off the 44 tops. It's just you have to adjust to this range-bound trading and just sort of like you look at it. It's now down at 80. This is now too late. Apple, Apple's close to that 69. So I'm trying to reload this one in front of 169.10. And yes, I saw in the chat when Ponzi was saying that Apple's not close to 170. Ha ha. It's at 169 even. 170, I know it's only $1, but the way this market is moving, that dollar it's like the last mile of a marathon is what that last dollar is going to be for Apple. Apple getting to here, come on. I know you guys would like to see me eat Vegemite, but let's be real for a second. That is not happening today. I just saw Mike Wayne say in the chat, Lyft is getting going. I'm willing to look at something that's moving. At this time of day, you're looking for something that's showing a setup where you can actually have some real movement. That's why we went to ACB. That's why we're looking at CGC as well. I keep hitting New York because it used to be on the New York. Double top, still no breakout over on CGC. So, either you pull back and give me some kind of a dip buy. I talked about Aurora Cannabis. I'm going to try and get some 515s and risk the 15 pennies on this bad boy.
All right, props up to, we have a first super chat right here. Thank you, Bears vs. Bulls, and thank you to Bizwatipa.
Wahipa?
Oh, that's a J, yeah, Bizwahita. Thank you so much. We will, that's for chocolates, he said. So thank you, she said. So thank you so much for that.
That'll work.
Yeah, nice one there. Any currency, British pounds, euros, US dollars, CAD, anything, it's all welcome. And I want to just thank everybody for
Swiss francs.
Continuously supporting the stream.
Before I die, I want my money in a Swiss bank.
Right, exactly.
I can see right through these haters like fish tanks.
Yeah, that's...
and they're frowning at my watch like my wrists stink.
Oh, shit. What was that guy's name again?
Ryan Leslie.
Ryan Leslie. Swiss
franc. No, well, yeah, like anybody but me knows Ryan Leslie, who is a ridiculously good artist. Imagine a hip hop dude that graduated from Harvard when he was 16 years old. That's Ryan Leslie, and he's independent. But check him out if you like.
Yeah. Hopefully, he was around for a minute, and then I don't know. Now he's producing.
Cassie.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's in
unfortunately.
The news now, yeah.
No, he produced her first hit. So that her very first hit, Ryan Leslie wrote and produced that song.
Okay.
The Me and You, the one where she's dancing in front of the mirror or whatever. That was a really good video.
Yeah. So that was from Swiss francs. You got me. I downloaded that, and that was a good track there. So go check that out. Ryan Leslie, Swiss francs. Although I think you want to keep your money in US dollars right now, as the DXY and UUP again, another hot day. I thought it was for them. We talked about this yesterday with Michael. What is it? Okay, so yeah, another hot day. Flat. But yeah, it's been a minute here. Nice move up on UUP, oopsies, and the US dollar, making those 27 bottoms and now up to 28.50. Let's see if we can break 28.60 now. That was, I guess, a little bit of a rebalance situation there back in, and that's the problem when you're, not a problem, but when you're dealing with different ETFs and whatnot, as you get different breakdowns. They're not really great to hold for a long term. This is just a thing that we look at. We don't have the DXY on this platform to look at the US dollar. I could call it up probably on something else. Amazon is really taking a dip here. I mean, I don't see any news or hear anything on this, but Amazon is coming in quite nicely right now. This is going to be a pretty big trade. I mean, at the end of the day, we're falling back in here. Our risk was, whatever, my stop is in, it's 82s. So we have 11 cents worth of risk here, or 13 cents, and we're now in the money 50. So let's put a bid right now, cash money out on that one a little bit, spit the hot dogs, and good trade there on Amazon, as we'll wait to see how low that name can go. But that was a good little take there. We did get stopped out when it broke that first level. So we were in there, and then I was just like, let's just go a little bit more once we did see that top happen. So I like that. Pretty happy with that trade right there for Amazon. So let's keep the momentum going with those names.
You're gonna like this.
Yeah.
Disney up 1%. Hunting. It's hunting for the double top.
Yes, 123
right now. So
right?
Proxy vote tomorrow. I mean, obviously. Look, like we said this yesterday, and like how that works out is how it works out. Whether Pels gets a board seat, good, bad, indifferent, it doesn't matter. It's a market moving potential event, and your job is to just sort of react to it. But I'm assuming there might be something going on here.
No, there was. I saw this morning. Yeah, it is just a fight. But here it is right here. Someone this morning said Bob Iger. Someone gave it a 20%. Disney stock set for, this was at today at 8:30, a 20% upside. But the stock has just been going in the last hour and a half there. Someone must have upgraded here. Bank of America gave the price target from 130 to 145. So there was a late upgrade that hit Benzinga here at 8:30 today. So it wasn't on our board. I don't think it was on our watch list. We didn't talk too much about it, but that was a little bit of a late call there for Disney stock. So Bank of America with the upgrade. So yeah, something there for Disney. I mean, I like it. I'm still on Amazon trying to figure that out, but I think Disney well worth it up here at 123. I mean, look at that. Huge move upside. We just got some out at 120, 150. We've been raising capital on this, but I'm not going to get out of any more. We've done it good enough, man. I mean, again, whenever it keeps going up, you're always going to be wrong, but then you're always going to be happy that you held something. So, you know, that's it. We got something out. I thought we got something out the first time in and around 112, which makes sense. Looking at this, I think we talked about that because it failed the 115. Yeah, that's what it was. It failed that 115 break there, came back, and we got 112.50 or something like that. And then we just recently got 121.50 the other day. So far, so good on Disney. The second largest gainer, maybe it's the first largest gainer in the Dow this year.
In the Dow, it really could be. I mean, I don't
43% or something.
I don't know, but it really could be. You know what's really weird about this?
Before today was Intel was the lowest, but then UNH got nosedive.
You want to hear some? It gets funny, but maybe it's not funny. I just find it amusing. I gave up on Disney at like 93, 94, and I was like, why do I own Disney and Netflix? And I'm frustrated with Disney shares. And I sold them and put them into Netflix. And then ever since then, it literally didn't matter. Within like 1%, it's exactly the same move. Disney went 94 to 122. Netflix went from like 480 something to like 6 something.
Yeah, that's still at the highs.
It's weird. Like that whole time, Netflix was doing better than Disney. And the second I get out of Disney and go to Netflix, then all of a sudden Disney just matches Netflix. But the broader point is, to me, you don't time the market, time in the market, over time the market. So put the money to work when you have an opportunity. If you see an opportunity that you want to put money to work, and your time frame is ever, I like it so much we take the 4 off of it, then you just put it in. And if I like Netflix over Disney and I sell Disney shares, I don't wait for a level, I just go right into it. If I want to buy the market, I just buy the Qs every single month and all that kind of good stuff. I do think AMD is really starting to entice me to the short, so I'm probably going to jump over now because it looks a little bit toppy at that 178. I was talking myself out of it off the 77 level that we shorted earlier if we come to the chart. I was shorting 77.5 this morning, and this afternoon I was shorting 77.5. Now I think you're shorting off the 178 level, and it's already done a topping tail candle and a consolidation under it. So I'm going to jump in. Apple doesn't seem to want to give us the reload. It's now back underneath VWAP 168.80, so we might not get that shot. I'm holding on to the last of our Robinhood. I think it can be an AMD time off this 178. So we risk about 40 pennies on this, depending on if I actually get this filled at 75.
Yeah, we took another fill on Amazon. As you guys know, it came back in there. Robinhood's trying to give us that fill down here. We are at 02. We'll wait for that. It was just at 03. What about Shopify? Shopify is moving around a little bit from what I could see. Ooh, nice move down on Shopify. Okay. Maybe this is something now. Shopify with a nice little push down into the 200 period. It still is up nicely on the day, but it really took that futures move down to heart right there as it starts to continue its move down on the futures and on Shopify. So that's 78.50. I think we could almost play and just say, get that garbage out of here. And it's too bad that we missed this. Oh, man, that would have been really nice because that top right there coincides with the break of the 50 period. And then if we zoom in a little bit more, you could even see even more there that it did give us a lot of reasons now to go short into that. Oh. Okay, it's a little bit of a missed opportunity there for Shopify. On the daily, you can see stuck in a range, but looking to go lower. I don't like the way this looks at all. Feel like, again, I feel like a lot of these big tech names are getting ready to break, and when they do, the bottom is, it's a hard one there. What about DraftKings quickly here? To see, 44, yuck, Puke City on this one too. Down another 1% here. We talked about that at 50. It came within a whisker of breaking that. 50, or at least trying to get back to. It got to 49.70, 49.80, and now the pullback into this one, where I think this is a buy, actually, down in and around $40. We'll have a look at their numbers the next time we see DraftKings, but I like the company. I like the first mover advantage a little bit there. I believe they did take over in the United States, which is really the market. I mean, look, Europe is huge. They have Will Hill over there. They have that FanDuel parent company. There's lots of competition everywhere in this space, even in the U.S. I mean, there's MGM Bet and ESPN Bet and The Score and Penn and Barstool and all those guys. So anyways.
And then if you bet.
But DraftKings, I think, is still fine. I still like the name. But VWAP may be an interesting little break. If we could break below that, 44.20 or so, that's still a ways away. So you're kind of stuck in the middle right now with DraftKings, but I wanted to look at it.
I wonder what the payout would be if the kid, he's like 30 years old, the pitcher on Houston to go Johnny Vandermeer and get 2 no-hitters in a row. Like, that's got to be like, you probably can't even get odds. Somebody has to be able to make a market.
Oh, they will make a market.
Because it's so impossible that
yeah.
There's some Yahoo out there that would want to bet it, and it's just free money for the book. It did happen once. There was a guy that threw back-to-back no-hitters. But, you know, look, I'm into NVIDIA. AMD, we did get the short, 177.75. Usually I don't try to put it at such a ridiculously obvious level, but you know, we'll give it to 178. I think 10 is the current high, or maybe it's like 8. So just a little bit above that, we'll be out there. Naresh saying, look up NU. Sure. I did get the fill in ACB, but I think I went over that plan. I bought the dip instead of the break, and I'll give it to $5, which it looks like it might retest. NU, lit grab at the open, and not much else. So when I say liquidity grab, look at it on the daily. Your support was at 1170. What did it do at the open? It promptly broke 1170, immediately regained that level. So you get like that liquidity grab underneath, and then the consolidation at the support level. So anybody that had stops under there essentially got bamboozled this morning on NU, and if it were to rally, that's bullish because you've relieved some pressure. Up at the top, like a stock's going up, lit grab gone, lit grab gone, lit grab. We'll see. The last few times it looks like it's been getting to the 50-period moving average. Did not get close. So not a bad-looking stock, but at the same time, I don't see much of a day trade there. You saw it going sideways on the actual chart this afternoon. So AMD, that's a new position. ACB, will it work out the same way? Probably not, because now it's not going to hold 5. That's the thing. Like CXAI yesterday was a perfect example of when this works. And we're long CXAI at 6 with a stop at 580, and it went to 690. The juxtapose of that is you go buy the dip and then you lose the 15 or 20 cents and it doesn't bounce off $5. So you got to take the good with the bad. It's the same setup, and just to show you CXAI, this is almost identical to the trade in CXAI yesterday. We had the consolidation in here. I went long in here, CXAI, and it makes the breakout. So I went long off of this, higher lows. It was barcoding in the afternoon, and you saw the breakout. And if ACB loses, then I don't say, oh, am I up or down on ACB? And CXI is a different stock. I say, no, that setup on a runner is what I took. And one day it lost 20 cents if this breaks, and the other day it made an average of 50 cents, and you net those against each other. So I like you to trade the setup, and I like the setup. It doesn't mean it works every single time, but the risk to reward I do like on ACB here.
Yeah, I mean, that's at this point in the day. It's 323 right now. We'll try to take some risk to reward. Oh, you know what, actually? Here we go. A name that was, I just looked. There was nothing. There was some Cy Young. I mean, that guy's not going to win the Cy Young. Those are the sucker bets that they're trying to throw out there. But I didn't get any odds. I know. It's like
he's not winning the Cy.
You know what? It's like last year when Chapman had that huge start for us last year. You could go on and bet him to win MVP.
Yeah, like what a fade that was.
Yeah, like as if. But you can't take the other side.
No,
you cannot be the house. That's why I like DraftKings.
Yeah.
Reddit. So Reddit was a name that we had looked at earlier. At least they did on the midday show as well. Up 10+%, back up to 51. That was really interesting because wasn't the Reddit IPO was 46.50, right? So let's just see. Was that right? Where was that came out at? Or was it 47? Looks like maybe 47. I don't know. That day's low. It looks like it might have got to 45 that day. I could zoom all the way back. But the end of the day is all that matters. You did have that nice move into 45 again. So if that was the low right now, then that could be something. We hit that low yesterday. That's nice. Like that's a good little level there, I would think. What was yesterday's Reddit chart looking like? So yesterday's high 50 as well. So we're bouncing in and around there. We actually took out 50, didn't we? I think you could actually, you know, I should maybe pay for shorts here. A break back down below 50, I think, is a good trade here. And then you could get out if you take the 50-period moving average at that point. What is that 50-period moving average? Yeah, that's going to be about, yeah, that's like a 50-cent trade. I actually think that's a decent break at the end of the day right here. Down for Reddit, up 10% right here at the end of the day, a decent opportunity to go through on this for Reddit. So I don't know. That's a decent trade idea, I feel like, breaking that in right there. Amazon back down, back up, not doing much. We don't get that Apple fill up. Oh, 07s, okay. We didn't get that Apple fill up here. We're still waiting for that into this area. I think it's 15s that we're waiting at. We don't, we didn't get that fill, but hopefully we will. And if we do, I'll play that short. I just don't see much momentum in the market, which is why I'm sort of slowing down myself here.
But not enough.
Robinhood, bounced off our penny. It looks like it got to 02 there. That's where we were bidding, very foolishly. Of course, just wicks down there. We don't get that fill. So let's bid something now at 4s and 5s, get some more out on Robinhood, and just try to slow down a little bit. I mean, do we have an earnings board?
So very quickly, I've got out of it. I want to ask her a question in the chat.
Yeah, go
But ACB doesn't hold the 5. So yesterday, CXAI, same setup, does work, but that's what it looks like when it doesn't. You buy the dip against the grain, and if it holds, and you get a late run, great. If it doesn't, you gotta take your stop out, in front of the key level. But there was a question very quickly: do we both think we would have the same success if we trade on a mobile rather than a desktop? I don't think there's any chance I would have the same success trading the style that we do. We're on a prop floor, trading half a dozen, sometimes even more stocks a day with over 100 fills. That's difficult to do in a mobile. I couldn't imagine doing it. That said, I've never tried it, but I just can't imagine that I'd be able to. With that, let's get to the desk and take care of some business.
Brought to you by Trade Ideas, real-time scanning and alerting used by everyone you see on the show. See what's moving in the moment. Trade Ideas. Check out the link in the description or scan that QR code on screen right now and grab 20% off.
All right, there.
And it was on Trade Ideas that I was actually looking up that Netflix chart. Because when you were talking about Disney, and I was looking up the weekly on Netflix and saying to myself, okay, what were we doing in Jan? And we were just chilling right around in here. When I gave up on Disney and decided I wanted to get into Netflix, it was right in here in the 480s. Forget the exact price. And then all of a sudden, they're both exactly the same. Netflix on a collision course with the 2021 highs. If it gets back up into 700, oh goodness, there's probably going to be some resistance up there. Google, how did we never get long Google? Trying not to overtrade, only take setups, and being patient, let's wait for VWAP on Alphabet. Let's not trade the 154 level even. And then what happens? Breakout 154 works. Pull back into 154 even works. Now they're scalp trades mostly, but it's still working, and you're with the trend in Alphabet. So let's adjust to 154. If the market even gives us a chance to. We have a couple of minutes till Frank comes in. Usually he's at 245. I'm not going to put any weight into he happens to come on and the market's going to rally. It's a different time of day, everybody. But at 3:30, we will get some early look imbalances, which I'm not expecting any names out there. But if they happen, you want to pay attention. The strong name for me is looking like it's going to be Alphabet. Let's just see if we can buy the dip. I don't want to be buying highs. I don't think the market's had the juice that you want to buy anything at the high or short anything at the low.
Messing around with a couple different layouts here for our after show. Join me tonight. Gold again. Wow, GLD up again. I mean, this gold, and we're gonna have Frank on in a minute. I mean, maybe this is. Pretty exciting stuff. This just continues, man. Another 1.28%. Look at GLD. Bullion, spot printed record highs. We don't have that on here, but again, another big move for gold and just continuing to go higher as it seems like all asset classes are really starting to rip now. So gold, just another one of those, man, up 1.28% and continuing to go. You didn't think that you're supposed to have a strong dollar and strong gold at the same time, but that is what's happening. So it's a nice move right there for GLD as well. Figure out what's up with that. I mean, that's a great move up there. I was surprised. I was just loading up the Trade Ideas sort of platform here and looking at some of these ETFs and noticed that it was today gold, and there it is from percent from close. Gold and energy leading the way here today on our ETF platform watch. So yeah, big time movements there in some of these asset classes, not including equities today. So that kind of makes sense. Finally, the world is right. Gold up, stock market down, energy up, stock market down. And I didn't even check out what the dollar was doing. It was pretty flat on the UUP. So let's get some more information with the desk and Frank.
There he is, Frank. We appreciate you being flexible today. A ton to get to this afternoon as far as the guys were alluding to there. Price action, first off. 2 days in a row here, a big move up for yields, basically right across the board. We started the day higher on the dollar as well, but back to the downside. But a lot of Fed speak over the past couple of days. There's still more to come ahead of non-farm payrolls on Friday. We'll touch on that here in a second. But more and more, we're hearing 3 rate cuts here before the end of the year, Frank?
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if we get 3, because this is the first time I've seen it, at least. A friend of mine here at the office was like, have you looked at the Fed funds futures here this week? And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, of course. We've been watching June. The June odds have been fluctuating. They're close to 50-50 of that first rate cut coming in June. And he was like, no, look at the Fed funds futures for December, where they're pricing interest rates by the end of the year. And I was pretty surprised to see, or I guess I shouldn't be surprised, I should be looking at this more often, is we're now down to a significant chance of 3 cuts or less by the end of the year. As you and I talked about this over the course of the last couple of months, Brendan, it's a very thin line between moving interest rate cuts out in time and how that affects the potential for the Fed to cut interest rates either at all or to the extent that the market is priced in, because it was December that they priced in 6 or 7 rate cuts. And then about a month ago, going into the March FOMC meeting, it was like, okay, we've priced out a lot of them. We've pushed them out in time, but we're still going to get, 3 or 4 rate cuts. And now it's looking like significant chance of maybe 2 to 3 rate cuts, and not a very big chance of more than 3 rate cuts here in 2024. And at this rate, if we don't get the cut in June, which right now is around 50-50, it's still a little bit more in the column of that first rate cut happening in June than it is not. But I think it's, last time I checked, it was like 58% versus 42%. So really close to 50-50. If this trend continues, Brendan, and they price out June, then it very quickly becomes maybe we only get 2 cuts here in 2024. And again, we've seen what can happen over the course of 2-3 months as we enter April here. You see this trend continue for another 2-3 months, and there's a chance that we get no rate cuts here in 2024. And it seems like the stock market, some of these assets are starting to price in at least the chance of fewer or no rate cuts in 2024. You and I have been talking about it. The stock market hasn't really bought into this story at all, but for whatever reason, we're seeing fear enter the market here this week. And I can't help but coincide this with the fact that Powell came out over the last couple of days and was really hawkish. And he has another speech tomorrow that I'm sure we'll watch for. But yeah, I don't know what you're seeing on the front of the stock market fear that's entering the market, but I can't help but look at that and look at, 10 years getting close to 4.5% and all these odds shifting.
Yeah, and we did get a little bit of data in the ISM PMI. It was yesterday, and then more to come tomorrow. It's not really an indicator, but it was a little bit higher than expected on both cases. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But I want to focus on the jobs, and then we'll get to, I know you want to talk about commodities here because they're exploding once again, along with the dollar and some of these yields. But we get the JOLTS number today, we get ADP coming up tomorrow, and then non-farm payrolls obviously Friday. And that's going to be a big one given, this world we now live in where nothing seems to be concrete at all.
Yeah, and we've definitely flipped here in April. The first couple non-farm numbers for the year, you remember this, Brendan, that the trend was so different as we entered January and February. And you and I would jump on here and we'd talk about the non-farm for Jan and the non-farm for Feb. And it felt like the market was pricing in the under right? Because the projections for interest rate cuts, like I was just, going off about, were, we're going to get 5, 6, 7 rate cuts. The U.S. data is starting to move lower, inflation's moving lower, and they're going to be able to cut. And we haven't seen that. We've seen overs hitting on every non-farm of the year so far. And this month here, we're projecting 200,000 jobs, which is like the most average kind of number that we've gotten for the last couple of years here. And I think this is going to be a huge one in that if it comes in again higher, which it has been the last, I think it's the last 3 readings in a row have come in much higher than expected, then I think you might see even more of that interest rate cut get priced out for 2024. And it seems like I alluded to earlier, it seems like the stock market for the first time really this year is tapped into the interest rate story because until now it's been, okay, maybe it's not so many cuts, but we're still going to get the cuts, right? And Powell comes out in the last couple of days and says, yeah, we're still looking at cuts, but we're in no rush as long as the U.S. data stays so strong. And this is a key data point for him. Employment and inflation are right there at the top of his list. And it seems like he feels that if employment and GDP, which has also been outperforming here in the U.S. Month after month, if those two numbers continue to outperform and inflation is still in the 2.5% to 3% range, it seems like he's not in a rush. And this could continue on through the summer. And like I say, the FOMC meetings that we have scheduled for this year can continue to slip away. So that being said, Brennan, of course, the other side of this is would be almost at this point an even bigger reaction because, like I say, it feels like the market is pricing in the over once again. You have, like I say, Treasury yields getting to year-to-date highs, the 10-year back close to 4.5%. These odds of rate cuts at their lowest in months. And so if this non-farm number comes out and it's 150, man, you might see a huge reversal in some of these markets. Yeah, you throw up the 10-year there. And of course, yeah, we're not back to 5%, which was the high for the last several years. I remember jumping on with you when they were up there, and that's the high for interest rates in the U.S. for many, many years. We're not back there, Brendan, but man, are we a long way away from the bottom that we saw at the end of 2023. And like I say, if the last 3 months becomes the next 3 months, it's a similar trend, then that effectively prices out all interest rate cuts for this year. And this employment data point will be a key either stepping stone in that developing trend or the reversal that this market needs to say, okay, we're not getting as many rate cuts as projected back in December when yields were below 4%, but we're still going to get those rate cuts. This non-farm here, I think, will be a pretty important one. And then, of course, we have inflation next week.
Yeah, I want to touch on these commodities because, oil still, the only thing that's really positive on the day right now, back to 6-month highs for crude oil. Gold basically taking out the highs today. Is this a rotation or what do you point to here?
This seems to be a pretty direct price action event to me. And by that, I mean, you can search online. There's going to be news stories from, Reuters and everybody else. Great, media outlets that are assigning this or that story to what we're seeing in gold. And man, I don't think there's any story. It is just, we're in a market. It's a primary market. It's very undiversified. Obviously, it's just the gold market in there. It's not an S&P 500 or a NASDAQ 100 or a treasury market that has all these different yields and durations, that this diversity underlying the asset. It is the gold asset class. It is at all-time highs, and it is capable of really anything here as we move towards 2,300. Volatility is up in that market. It's for the options heads out there, keep in mind gold is the reverse of an S&P or a stock style market, which is that it sees positive skew, which is the fear in that market tends to be to the upside. Just like when the S&P turns lower by 3 or 5% in a given week, and you see the volatility increase and some of the big moves pick up in that market. Same with gold, but to the opposite direction when that market sees, $20, $30, $50 move to the upside and starts to stack some of those up. Volatility enters, fear enters that market, and that's when you start to see the big moves really cluster. Crude oil obviously is a little bit more directly tied to the wars going on both in the Middle East, but especially in Russia and Ukraine, as it seems like there's a lot of targeting of Russian oil producers and refineries. But that's been held in check as the U.S. is starting to produce so much crude oil in recent years. But they're finding that with the U.S. data and also if China and some of these other major economies that consume and use crude oil and its byproducts, if that demand is higher than expected a couple of months ago, everybody was expecting the U.S. economy and some of these economies to continue to dip. If that demand stays bid, Brendan, and you've got the Russian story going on, the U.S. increasing its production might not be enough to feed that demand. And so, yeah, you're seeing crude, WTI crude back above $85 a barrel, and Brent crude, I should have checked before jumping on here, but at least close to, if not beyond that 90 handle, as crude is, within a couple of days of further upside of getting back to new highs on the last couple of years of trading since we saw triple digits. But yeah, like I say, these are, commodity markets are so volatile. They're not diversified like stock markets. And so you can see these huge moves. And to me, this is a price action story in both those markets. And continuing as well, with no apparent end in sight at this point. Now, I know it's not in your wheelhouse, but I wanted to get your thoughts on, we talk about these moves in gold and crude oil and things like that, but it's not cocoa at this point, because this has been, what is cocoa, a meme stock at this point? Like, what is happening with cocoa? Is $10,000 a ton? It's unbelievable. The same person who, my friend Pete, shout out to Pete, who was like, you need to take a look at these December Fed funds futures. He was like, also, cocoa is 3x of where it was a couple of years ago. And we talk about crypto and all this different, everything. We were talking about liquidity pools and crypto and how you can kind of help out that industry. Anyway, nobody cares about that. It's boring. But he was like, we need to do some liquidity pools, some market making in cocoa, because that's a market that is, very volatile. But again, you're talking about a primary singular commodity market. So that means it's going to be volatile, and that means it's going to be low liquidity relative to your S&P 500, your Apples, your Microsofts, I saw the guys trading Google. So the cocoa, I have no clue what's going on, Brendan. But as you can tell, I am not the type of guy to go to I don't even know technically what's going on in gold or crude oil or even Forex. To me, it's all price action, and that one's as wild as you could get, even wilder than gold right now. Yeah, get ready to pay more for your chocolate fix, I think, seriously, at the end of the day. It's getting crazy. Great stuff, as always. More to come this week in jobs, and as you mentioned, Fed Chair Powell, we'll hear from him again tomorrow. So more to come. Frank Kaberna, Director of Strategy over at IG.com in Chicago. Good to see you. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, some people are concerned about the fact, hey man, if copper prices are going up and oil prices are going up, then don't talk to me about inflation not being a problem. But you mess around with cocoa prices and we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a problem. The other problem is,
get more expensive around here.
Look, Frank usually comes on at 2:45, and we joke about this all the time, 2:45 to 3 o'clock, yada, 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 the market moves up. At some point, just going to learn, don't be sitting net short when Frank comes on, because it's like 7 out of 10 or 8. And I know it's random. Obviously, we're all rational here. it's not as if when Frank speaks, the market is going to the upside. But you've got to be kidding me. The NASDAQ was doing absolutely nothing. At the normal time that Frank comes on at 245, it did a small move. Then we literally broke out in the NASDAQ. Apple hasn't really come out yet. It's still holding the same area. But I was in AMD when it happened. I was shorting AMD, broke out, and is now at 178.5. Robinhood's not really doing a heck of a lot, but it's kind of uncanny. The early look on the imbalances came out. Individual names, nothing. Now, for anyone looking at VFC, VFC has an early look imbalance of 12 million to buy. I can tell you it is moving from the S&P 500 to the 600. So it's going from the X to the small. So it's actually supposed to be a net sell imbalance on VFC. So I would not be reading too much into VFC being a 12 million buy because the expected action is to be to the sell side. So I know you're going to see it and be like, that's a big number. Why aren't you talking about that one? Because you're expecting a net sell, and I wouldn't go against the grain on that one.
Yeah, there isn't much happening over there. This was an interesting. Adair sent me this. Adair, it's actually the same tweet, the best and the worst. Yeah, two different pictures. I know, it's hilarious. So there it is. We talked about today. So we nailed that. It was Disney at 33%, followed by Caterpillar at 22% for the Dow. But these are the NASDAQ. And of course, we'll talk about Tesla over and over and over again. But the very next one is Boeing there as well. But I don't know, the Boeing's not in the NASDAQ, so I don't understand why that's there. But anyways, Boeing right there down 25%. I feel like these are not all NASDAQ names as... actually VFC, is that a NASDAQ name? Lulu is for sure as we go to the downside. So there's a couple names. Humana today, of course, on some of that drug pricing, not good from the insurance board there. And then NVIDIA, obviously, this is a kind of a no-brainer. Up 82%. That's going to lead the way there. This is exciting to me because I didn't realize DoorDash was up 40%. Like, say what? Nice move there for DoorDash. Meta, I guess we should have kind of expected that. We did see sort of a decent move up in Uber. I know they're not going to be the same type of company there, but DoorDash nicely done. ASML, Micron was sort of depressed before, so that's a nice move back. FANG, that's Diamondback Energy right there, AMAT and CrowdStrike. So anyways, just a little bit of
very
a I tweeted that out.
So the Boeing thing.
Yeah,
are
that's
they,
weird.
Are they just talking? I'm very confused about that for Boeing because
no, it's not part of the NASDAQ. I didn't build this. This is just something.
Yeah, okay.
Trader. I don't think they should have Boeing in there.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Boeing's a New York name, so.
Okay.
Anyways, that would have been Boeing would count as probably I think it was Boeing or Intel for the worst Dow names. Oh, for the year.
Yeah, the Dow. Yeah, the Dow. Yes.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the
Boeing.
But that wasn't the Dow.
No, I know. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
no,
like
we've already.
Yeah, okay. No, I know. I just.
When I saw Boeing on there, I was like, that's not a NASDAQ.
Yeah, I just get screw-faced because I'm like, huh? But speaking of, apparently we didn't stop at 345 when Frank stopped. Can't stop, won't stop those markets. I was just getting some 190s, 169s, 190s on Apple. And I'm not sweating the Vegemite thing, but I am short at 11s here on Apple, and it's about to take up 20s. I know it's only like 10 to 15 cents, but when the range for the entire afternoon's been 40 cents, then it kind of matters if it goes 15, 20 against you, because that's what you're able to get. Apparently, OUST is making a move, and Google's actually not breaking out the high, so it's not continuing. What is Oust doing? It's still that $10 level. What is it with Oust, and every time I pull it up, it's at $10? Like, I'm not looking at it at all. When in the afternoon, when everyone was talking about this stock, I'm like, yeah, I can't break $10. And I don't even pull it up once. And all of a sudden, I look at it for the first time today, and it's at $10 again. So here's the thing. When this stock is at $9.50 or $9, then talk to me about it. I'll pull it up, and then it'll be suddenly at 10. And then people can make profit. But I feel like I'm looking at it, and it's at the high of the day every time I pull this stock up. So.
We did the same sort of a trade each other are doing the same trade there because I'm short Apple as well. We got 18s, or we got a little bit, yeah, we got 18, so there it is. We took a piece out just at 14. I know it's not moving, so we'll wait to see if that can come through again for Apple. The market's starting to go to the upside there. That 2 was a great bottom, man, 18.2. So I'm sort of glad that we did look at that here into the close, but there's now only a minute left, and I don't really want to be too much into some of these. So I'm going to put 169.40 here for Apple as a possible. No, you know what? We're not going to take too many shares. Break of 50s. We only have a minute left. It could go up and down here and then do a little bit of a dance here into these numbers. These are the imbalances that we're talking about. So Neil already sort of explained some of them. I'm going to get rid of broker, and then just to show them all when they come through at 350, we'll get a little number from Indira if she has it, or yeah, she's going to have it.
Overall number.
Oh no, yeah, the overall number. We don't have an early look, and then that will fill out NASDAQ names and all that in just 15 seconds as of now. That will fill out, and then we'll see. So I'm still short Amazon, Robinhood, and Apple, and that's that. And they're all pretty small heading into the close, which is now the last 10 minutes of play in this period.
10 minutes in the period. Speaking of periods, a shout out to, and there goes Apple. I'm out. Well, I tightened my stop at 350. I should say that. I do it every single time I let you guys know that I'm tightening my stop.
Apple went down. I thought you were short.
I got wicked out there. Oh, wait a minute. Did it hit the bid? Oh, you know what? No, I got out on the bid. I assumed my stop hit because 350 hit usually, but I got out on the bid. Yeah. But I don't see Apple or anything big tech over $1 million on the imbalances. Intel's a buy of $1 million. Remember VFC? That's not even, it's actually a smaller bid now. So it was 12 million, but it's supposed to be a sell. Now it's 2.7 when it actually comes out. X-Ray is supposed to be a sell, a gigantic sell. It's a 5 million buy. This stock, it's 5 million to buy. It's supposed to be, when I looked at it on the S&P and rebalancing for today, it should be a sell. So I'd watch out for X-Ray. Not really. Apple's there for a 1 million sell. That's why I got hit on the bid. I would assume Amazon sell 900 million, 2.3 billion to the sell side is what the overall imbalances are. No, it did run my stop. Yeah, it ran my stop. I had my stop. I always tightened it up at 350. I didn't get hit on the bid. It actually ran the stop. So I got to fill at 19. Oh. And then I got this run right here. But I always tighten my stop up at 350. Yeah. At 350, if I'm giving it to the highs on a normal trade, at 349, I'm giving it to the local top. Because I don't want to get caught off bounds and it does some crazy imbalance move, and then I want to be taking it up here instead of down there. So I'm only in Robinhood right now. What else? I'm not eating Vegemite or pineapple. It has to go to $170 Apple for me to eat the Vegemite. I know everyone's trolling, but it's not going to 170. It went 20 cents there. We're not going to 170 today.
Wow, what a comeback in the market. No, I don't think we're going. I mean, I'm short. I was going to give this up to 40s.
We're not going to 170.
We got hit there. So that's what's funny about the 350 number. You get hit up top and then you get hit right at the bottom again. So yeah, this is part of it. We've been through this dance before as we just get missed on Robinhood, and that goes all the way to the upside. So again, pretty good day overall. Pretty boring afternoon, honestly. I mean, when this is what Robinhood looks like. Apple just now starting to go for a little bit of a run. We're net short, so bang, bang, and bang. Yes, sir. There it is. We turned that volume up. There goes a nice little move down for Apple. Apple cratering here a little bit into this close. So there's the fill there for Apple. So there it goes, man. We will put a cherry, not an apple, on top of today's day with this move back in right now, putting Apple, my number one stock now, just on this move alone there. So that's good. But again, that could also come out. We are emptying out the clip, so to speak, right now. Okay, let's go. Here it goes. Nice move down. All right, this is working out better than I thought. Nice move now down for Apple. And yeah, that's continuing. Amazon just giving us that 10 cents, so that's going to be a decent trade net. And then Robinhood, maybe we'll just get out. We are short right now at 20s. I mean, we could get a 15 print and just call it a day here. Maybe we'll do that. Let's put some at 15 and then some at 10. And Apple's dancing around 169 flat. It's just a small little win there. 15 cents plus on the downside, especially when you're bouncing off VWAP in the 200 period right here. So again, all goes according to plan. We planned this trade out. It worked. We changed our stop to 4. No, actually we didn't. We changed it to 50s in case we got wicked out, but that didn't happen. And then right there, nice little top for Apple, respecting that. So I like that. Only 7 minutes to go right now. Let's put some Robinhood bids out because again, we're getting missed on those.
So just, I said it once. I'm only in Robinhood. My stop's not break even on that one. So I don't think I put anything new on. But this X-Ray up, it's 4.7 million to buy, and it just did this. Like it actually moved on that imbalance, but it is in our report this morning supposed to be a sell. So I will not be surprised if you trading off the imbalances and you see a massive buy imbalance and a stock running, you just went red to green, but it's supposed to be a sell. I'm not saying that to tell people, I'm not telling you how to trade or what not to do. I just want to make sure you understand that yes, big buy imbalance, but in the data, it's supposed to be a big sell today. Actually, a pretty large one. Like the notional on the sell was supposed to be 16 million shares to the sell side. It's going from the S&P 500 to the 400 on X-Ray. Juniper's in there as well, but I think those are the ones you're concerned with. Apple went from 1 million to 2 million on the sell side. So this was 1 million sell when I brought it up. It's now a 2 million to the sell side. And it's the only one that grew. Amazon was 900,000 to sell. I don't see Amazon's now 800,000. It actually got smaller. So you're seeing a nice increase on that sell imbalance on Apple. So it is now heading back into the downside. I do want to double check. With only 5 minutes to go, NVIDIA is going to end up, thank you for the wick at 780. Basically, look, actually, when you talk about the market, it being boring, it didn't even get to 900. It's going to close, looks like, at that 895 level. Disney, which I think should be on a lot of people's minds today. I do want to respect Disney, but it did pull back. It's going to hold 123, but actually pull back off of those highs. So watch out. Disney, tomorrow, you're going to have the proxy vote. We'll see what happens with Mr. Peltz and the Disney board seat that he may or may not get.
Yeah, exactly. That should be interesting tomorrow. I just want to say, I just tweeted it out, man, and I was just saying, like, right here on the sticky note this morning, we had Apple written down as a short. So I just tweeted it out right now. Basically, the most useless, stupid hashtag of all time. I have no idea even what it means. I just said, stay in your grind. Like, Apple short, man, I mean, that's what we've been doing all day. So let's just keep doing that. It came in right into these levels again. It gave us that opportunity, and down it goes. So good trade there for Apple. Stay doing what you're doing. Trust your reads and stuff like that. And it worked for me there on Apple, and it's been working so far. I'm going to put another bid here at 96, see if we get out of that one. Maybe we'll just cross it up and get out so it doesn't run away from us. Hit that bid. All right, maybe it's going to run away. All right, let's just cross out, get out 99s or O's there. End the Apple trade with a bang on that one, with a nice little face slapper there to end the day. We did get out of Robinhood right here, right now. So we take a 3-penny winner at the end of the day to put a positive spin on Robinhood today. So that was good. The only stock that we're going to be red on, it looks like, is going to be Amazon here after getting ticked out that one top. And we already talked about that play right there, because Amazon did wind up coming back up. So we're going to have to get out. Let's just get out now. I got to go over to the desk. We'll get out at 62s there. So a little small winner at the end. I mean, I'd like to hold on to this a little bit there. But really good trading today, needless to say. So great day overall. I hope you guys all, had success. I mean, Apple win, Amazon L, we just talked about that. Hood win, Meta win right there. Obviously, we got in and out there. We should have gone long. 498. Wow, Meta's back, baby. And then Tesla, obviously, with a W here as well, with my number one net name being Apple. So, all right, I'll see everybody later, just in a couple minutes. We do have Brian Shannon of Anchored VWAP fame, and of course, New York Times best-selling author. I don't know if that's true, but with his Anchored VWAP book. So go find him out at Alpha Trends.
Well, he's the market technician. There's no, who's selling better as a trader? I can't imagine it being anybody but him. But thankfully, got out of the way of AMD. I was double checking NVIDIA, but it's like it was AMD that made the rally, Neil. So thankfully, we got away from that one when Frank came on at 178. It's going to close. Still down 2.5% and still underneath the opening range top there. So just to give an idea of how far the road has been traveled, specifically on these chip names, from bottom to top, it's a $5 move off the lows for AMD. I would like to say that this feels, forget about AMD for a quick second. If you look at the bounce off the bottom here, I know it feels bullish, and I want to say bullish things about this market. But if we just come back tomorrow and fail underneath 18.4, how great, if we don't break 18.4 and support turns into resistance, then I feel like this might have been a little bit of a trap rally. But that being said, there's still going to be plenty to trade. You see the chips flying around, you see Apple flying around, you see Amazon flying around. You got the cannabis names that are going to be in play as well. Reddit, by the way, let's acknowledge, because I know we didn't trade Reddit today, but if you're ever looking for IPOs, remember you don't have price action, wealth of data and price action. I can't go over and see hey, look at this quadruple bottom on Starbucks, and you won't have that for Reddit. But you are going to have a bottom like this 3 days in, and you're going to have the IPO open price. This literally wicked the bottom, and then that was it. 44.25 was the low 2 days after its initial trade. It wicked $44, and this is $44.50, and then look at the upside. When we talk about a liquidity grab and then a rally, this is the exact example you're talking about. You don't have to have that, but in here, when you get that higher low of 45 hold, and then it's at $51. And that's the kind of volatility you get in IPOs, but only at the start. So shout out to anyone that had this Reddit. Oh, wow, that was way too loud. We had the volume up because Frank was on when we had the guests, making sure we can hear them. But I hope that was not as loud to you guys as it was over here. But Reddit, 10% to the upside, but it's a setup that matters here. And the countdown is on for this Tuesday. Dara on the desk. Let's hit them in 5, 4, 3, 2. You know what to do. Market is going to, oh, look at that. Oh no, the ES didn't quite get to positive, and Apple did not get to $170. So once again, day number 1,000,000 of me not eating the Vegemite. By the time I actually have to have a spoonful of this, it's going to be long expired because I just make bets that aren't going to happen because I can do that in my favor and you guys can't do anything about it. But a fun day today trading. I feel like we're going to get some fireworks. We had jolts today. We get more jobs data later on in the week. End of the week, we're going to get non-farm payroll. One big shout out. We had a wealth of guests today, and a great job by Brendan for all of our guests. I think it's fantastic to learn about the cannabis space there a little bit, and of course, we get Frank rallying the markets like he does. Shout out to Fabian and Ramin on the 1s and 2s, kicking it like they always do. Obi dropping knowledge in the midday. The learn to trade is an important one because you got to change your style every single section of the day as the market's changing. And you guys got an opportunity in learn to trade, talking about trading the midday during the midday. And you saw today in the afternoon, you really had to pick your spots. The morning is in the afternoon, the midday isn't the morning. So you guys doing a great job. Shout out to you, Adara. Shout out to you, Obi. But you know what time it is. It's 4 o'clock. You already heard you got Brian Shannon coming on. You're going to get some trade review. You're going to be able to see what we did right, what we did wrong in the markets, and what to look forward to. Spoiler alert, gold is looking good. I have a feeling you might hear a little bit about that as you head on over to the desk with my man, Sean Katina, for the Aftermarket show.
All right. Very dramatic introduction. Thank you so much for that one. As we go, you can see brought to you by Real Trading. This is the Aftermarket show. It's not a huge, we're brought to you by Benzinga, by the way. Thank you so much for joining here one more time today. We'll go over some of the sectors. We'll talk a little bit about PVH. I mean, they were down 22% today. An interesting name, Levi's. I want to talk about them. They're going to be reporting tomorrow after the close. Now you got two of me. And a couple things. Oh, View just got halted. Some stock View right now just halted out right now at 401. Just real quickly here, some interesting names to look at before we look at the broader markets. I mean, just what's standing out. If we can get rid of my mug here quickly. Meta was, flash, back and forth. Meta right there, up 1.12%, so that's kind of interesting. We actually made good money on the short before realizing that it closed the day up at 498. Let's discuss some Meta today. Microsoft and Google both heading back down to the downside, but NVIDIA leading the way for all the big names, down 0.92. But the interesting name right there in this section is AMD. AMD down 2.64%. So not a great day for that name. We'll check the charts out over there. Now, back in the retail side of things, Walmart down 1.43%. That's kind of a move that, you know, again, breaking back down below that $60 mark. Let's have a look at a key level there for Walmart. A name that I think we could buy on dips, Costco as well. As interest rates come, we had Frank on. It's looking like 3 might be the most, maybe the most. Maybe we get 2, maybe we get 1, maybe we get none on that. So if rates remain high, we could see potentially the retail trade starting to come apart a little bit. We had a monster move in ANF, big moves in Costco this year as well, potentially pulling back. Home Depot again, down another 1.12%. XOM, a 1.5% to the upside. That's a nice one. And then Eli Lilly sticking out as well. But look at Disney. Let's go back over quickly. This is XLE. How good does XLE look? We'll look at the daily chart for that one as we'll have a quick look. Breaking out. Let's go. XLE, man. Take that one to the bank right now. This is a big stock for me, man. I didn't buy any individual energy names over the last couple of years. I've really been diversifying, or not diversifying, I guess, going into a ETF so that you get multiple holdings, thus diversifying your energy exposure for individual names. So I chose XLE, the services. I like that, and there it goes. If you're looking for more of a pure play on oil, then you would look right over here. Hold on, I got to set this screen up over there. I know he's not there yet. Right there, $80 for USO, looking to take out some of those levels on crude. 10, again, as we talk more about interest rates, right? As we get more and more sensitive here for 10, you're gonna see some levels here. And look what we have right now. What's up now, Michael Noss? Look at this, little bit sloping down action. So we're drawing now, thanks Michael. He showed me this little pen widget. That's right, Ramin? Widget? Get some widgets. I'm drawing tools. See, I have this little pen tool. And infographic, that's what it is. But anyways, Will 10, let's use this. You know what, maybe you guys could see this color better. I mean, you could be swooping down here on these bottoms. So we kind of like these frowny faces right there. You like this or blue? Let me see, should I find out what the chat thinks? All right, Ramin just said blue, so we're gonna go with blue. Anyways, 10, down 3.73%. Again, a very interest rate sensitive spot. An interesting name for me though is going to be, how do I turn this thing off? I got to go hide. Yeah, there we go. Would be JP Morgan. We've talked about this name up at $200. This is something that we could look at, right? As rates become an issue, I don't know, the banks have done really good in this 500-point rate hike straight to the upside as JP Morgan's at all-time highs, but are we potentially getting a little top heavy? And as you can see down here, you see the divergence here in the RSI. So once again, let's have a quick look. Right here, down, right? Starting to head to the downside for the RSI. So as relative strength goes the other way, you could see up here, maybe we start to head back down to the downside. So watch out for potentially banks giving some of that up. So that's what that looks like right there for JP Morgan. I mean, what else has been pretty interesting here today? Shout out to everybody that's joining right now. We are carried over 2,600 of you. Thank you so much. We don't have too many earnings to report. I do have the Benzinga Pro news desk here. Oh yeah, Dave & Buster's. Do we still have Dave & Buster's here? We used to have one up at the Coliseum up there in Woodbridge. Yeah, okay, so that's still there. So shout out to Dave & Buster's. I really like Dave & Buster's, and shout out to everybody that's right here right now. Stay in your grind, everybody. That was a tweet that I put out there recently, and it was about that apples. There it is right here. Oh, there's the Alpha Trends. Did I retweet this? No, I don't think I retweeted this. Let's retweet it right now. Thanks for mean. Do everything around here? Do I have to do everything around here or basically nothing except for host? I think it's the latter, right? So there it is. Brian, Shannon coming through. That's going to be pretty cool, so thanks for that. What I wanted to look at quickly was this Apple trade. And why I want to talk about this is because we are going to have Brian on and we're going to take things a little slow. This Apple trade, I just said stay in your grind here. So what I mean by that is like, regardless of sort of what you're seeing here, we had noted on the sticky note that we wanted the Apple short today. As long as we stay under 170, just play some of these bumps and take advantage of these moves. So we actually put Apple on the top list there for trading. Oh, you guys want to do something that traders stay late for? This is something that I'm going to do for you. Let's try to do it pretty much every day because, again, let's put it, I'm going to do something special for you. Let me see 5 people put the hashtag traders stay late right here in the chat, and I'll do something for everybody coming up, give you a little inside look at real trading, okay? So if you put that in there, I need 5 people to put traders stay late. Let's go get that, and I'll show you something. All right, so TLT today, we see a nice little downside push in this name as well, breaking below that 92. Let's see if we can hold that right there, 92 for a bottom side for that. Let me just check out what's happening here. Okay, traders stay late, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many did I say? 50, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, damn. Breaking news. You guys just ran that level. So let's go and look at something. Okay, if you are here with Real Trading, if you're here at Real Trading, you get to see the top traders. But this information is really supposed to be, I don't know if I'm going to get compliance anywhere around here. It's supposed to be for real traders, but let's go have a look. So these are going to be the top 10 traders. It's really the top 8 traders, and then the last 2 are just us highlighting some markets. Let's go find out who made the most money. So you go in here. This is an internal memo area. So we'll go in here. This is called, for all of you people like me that are Gen X. Am I Gen X or Gen Z? I can't remember. Definitely not Boomer, though. You want me to look this up, what the official, I'm born in 1979. Look it up then. I'm not trying to argue with anybody here. Okay, yesterday's top 10 traders. Yesterday, here at Real. Somebody in chat tell me what that is. 1979, what generation that is. I'm just going to ask Perplexity or something. Yeah, exactly. Generation the best. All right, 16.5 right there. Number one trader in the NASDAQ yesterday. 6.7 for Amex. 6.7 again. New York NASDAQ, Amex. So people trading the Amex are probably either trading GLD as an Amex name. That's pretty popular. We have the SPY, which is pretty popular. GDX can be pretty popular as well over there. Obviously, ETF-based names. I mean, you guys can look them up. Look at the higher volume names if you're trying to figure that stuff out. I don't know why there's missing information right there. Probably NYSE. Who knows? Maybe crypto. Amex, NASDAQ, Amex again. And then someone yesterday made $700 on the pink sheets right there. So a little bit of a look right there for compare your profits from Real Trading. Okay, that's that. All right, let's have a quick look. We did talk about Dave & Buster's there, but then we didn't go over anything. So here's Dave & Buster's, a nice little move down into $58. Looks like it's down 8+% right now. Let's call up Benzinga and find out why. So I thought I saw it right here. Here it is. So all right, so the stock with a nice downside move here, down 4%, down 4% during the day, down another 5% here in the after hours with a conference call scheduled for 5 o'clock. So we'll see what they're going to say right there. Let's close that and then just see what the story is here about the stock. So there it is right there, play. Q4 adjusted EPS 103. So they actually miss on their quarter. That's not good. And they miss on their sales. So they're going to miss on the top and on the bottom. All right, 7%. So that's a miss too compared to 8% last year, same quarter. What I'm looking for here is, do they have anything out? Dave & Buster trading lower at the company reported worse than expected results. Okay, so I don't see anything on the guide. So we'll see for a potentially bigger move coming out here on play at the end of the day. We saw PVH miss today. And again, a pretty bad move down to the downside. The reason why, for me, this is interesting, not because of PVH. Again, they guided. We actually did a channel check. I thought Ramin was going to tell me bad for Hilfiger and CK. I thought those brands weren't super hot, and it looks like that's going to be the case there as they guide lower. They had a good sales number. They beat on the top and bottom, but the poor guide sending PVH to the downside, and again, bouncing, trying to get to that 200 period moving average. I mean, we could talk to Brian about this. But if you let's put an anchored VWAP here, pretty much at this bottom. Let's put it to that bottom of October and see where that anchored VWAP takes us to. Are you kidding me? This anchor VWAP hits again? Right there. So that anchor VWAP right now down at 112. So PVH spending its time underneath right now. The interesting thing about this name is not about PVH at all. I'm looking at this, and did I write it on the board there? Yeah, in brackets. Levi's comes tomorrow night. Okay, so again, clothing, apparel, I don't want to call it a similar name, but again, names that we thought were pretty much printing over in Europe. We know that we had a story about jeans kind of sort of trending over there in Europe, and Levi's really starting to sell back over there. So you could see here, Levi with their report coming tomorrow on this post-market April 3rd. Look at this run up for Levi's right here. So if we drop an actual... You know what? Because Brian's coming on, let's do this again. We'll drop an anchor right here from this October bottom. And I'm going to ask Brian if this is the right thing to do here. I don't know. But right there, you're seeing, you know what? The best part about an anchor VWAP is you can lay it wherever you want. So right there, down to $16. I don't know if we're going to get there, but Levi Strauss, just a huge name right now to the upside. And again, watching out what happened with PVH, we could get a pullback for Levi's. The important thing about what to talk about today, options volume up over close to 1,400%. I have to say a happy anniversary to my wife. Thank you so much for doing that 13 years ago. So happy anniversary. We're coming home. We're going out for dinner. My eldest is going to watch the kids. So that's going to be a fun night out on the town. Probably be home by 8 o'clock. Nah, probably a little later than that. We didn't get much sleep last night. But okay, so that's that. Yeah, there we go. All right, so here's what D-Loaf is saying. You got to put more anchors on my stuff. It's pretty goated. Totally goated, dude. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think, honestly, Mr. D-Loaf, what's the story with that name, by the way? D-Loaf. Maybe put that in the chat there. Yeah, and you know what? Apple fritter. That's a great name. Wow, Apple Fritter. Shout out to Apple Fritter right there. That's a great name. AAPL Fritter. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic. I haven't, first time, long time. Yeah, you are right. Nike, downside, right? Setting the stage there with the big miss. Boom. Lululemon, the same sort of a thing. We talked about Adidas having their first negative, I think it was quarter in something like 20 years. Obviously, a lot of people, thank you, Cecilia Fabian, a lot of people sort of pointed to their disruption by Kanye and so on and so forth, but forget about that. We've seen a lot of these retailers starting to head to the downside, and we actually talked a little bit about Walmart today as well. I mean, look at this Walmart level coming through here. We talked about this little top forming on Walmart. So there's a little level there. We topped out for sure. Are we basing out? We talked about breaking through that 60. Now that we've broken out 60 on Walmart, let's go ahead and see here. Anchored VWAP on this bottom for Walmart. Where may we stop? Walmart looking 55. I mean, that sort of coincides as well with the 200 period moving average if we anchor it to that bottom right there. So a little bit of a level there for, again, maybe we could go to this high as well, but a nice level for Walmart. I still think coming back in. And then a key level for me would also be a name, Costco, coming in the retail side of things. Look at this name starting to go lower as well. Wow. Okay, Costco, I could see potentially a pullback here as rates come in question, retail starts to come down, and again, but you know what? Credit card spending still at or near all-time highs in the U.S. with credit card expenditures starting to go offside a little bit there. All right, I spoke with Brian earlier, asked me if there's anything in specific we wanted to focus on. It looks like we'll just take a couple names, so that's going to be exciting. So let's do that. There's not too much. Oh, there's D-Loaf, just because my name is David. Okay, good one, David Lofreda. What's up, David? Thank you for sharing right there. So there it is right there. And anything else right there for the anchors? Brian said you've got to put the anchors for swing lows and highs where buyers and sellers took control. So perfect. There we go. Everyone paying attention, man. Brian will be really happy. I know he's listening right now and again. Hopefully a lot of you have checked him out at Alpha Trends. And without any further ado, Ramin, are we ready? Yeah. Let's bring him on. Brian, hey, Brian, how's it going, by the way?
Good. Congratulations. 13 years.
Yeah, amazing time, eh? I mean, the fact that she's still with me is really what needs to be congratulated. So we'll celebrate that tonight. And guess what? This time she can get whatever she wants on the menu. You know what I mean? But no, it's been a great experience. And are you
go to Hortons? Is that where you got Canadians
Tim
go
Hortons?
for their anniversary?
I would love to go there. You know what? We spend a lot of time at Tim Hortons because we're a hockey family. So it's like you go there, you get a nice coffee, you sit at the rink, and it is a fun time. Any Tim Hortons near where you're at?
I don't think so. We got like Denny's and I don't know. What other couple Village something? I don't even go there. I don't know.
Dutch Bros.
Village Inn, I think it's called.
You have Dutch Bros there for a coffee place?
No, not yet. Not
yeah,
that
I want to see a Dutch Bros myself.
I saw Kava's about to open, which I'm kind of interested to see.
Another recent IPO. I have something like if I trade the name and I can't make money there, and I kind of move off. Oh, CMG. That's a good name. Did you see that that's going to be reverse splitting?
I like that. I like that. That stock has been so illiquid too. I mean, the 20-day average has been about 250,000 for years.
Right.
Now we'll get some liquidity and a more reasonable price. So yeah, that was a great move. I was happy to see it.
People loving Waffle House there on the chat. I mean, if there was one around here, I'd definitely go to a Waffle House. But yeah, CMG excited about that one. We also had the recent Walmart split. I see you have Meta on your screen there today. Now, what I did with Meta earlier, I've been shorting this name actually against 500. I actually just used kind of psychological levels. I wrote down today we wanted to stay short of Apple under 170. And today the same thing with Meta. But you know what? I don't know if you can help me out, Brian, because we actually were super patient. We had this short. It ran up into 493. Look at that, man. 3 shorts. Bang, bang, bang against that pre-market level. Fell back in. We covered at like 489. So that's about $4 on the maximum. Then it came back in. And this is how I trade. Look at this. Try to hold the winners for $3 or $4. But when you're wrong, you get out for 30, 40 cents and you walk away. And it's a good thing we did because Meta started going to the upside. You have anything on this name?
Well, the only thing I was actually just looking at it. I wasn't looking to discuss it, but I was noticing the anchored volume weighted average price from that last gap higher. We can put that on right there. And you can see it's been holding that really well. So if we break below that and hold below that level, Sean, then I think you've got a short that could have some legs and perhaps go close that gap. Everyone always looks for these gaps to get filled, but as we know, sometimes it takes years for a gap to get filled. Look back at the SPY and look at the unfilled gaps down here from November, and people were shorting, hoping those gaps will get filled, but it's not the way it always works.
Are we finally? No. Yeah, they always say every gap gets filled, but I'm pretty sure that you and I know that that's not completely true.
If they do, it can take years, right?
Right. I guess time frame.
Statistically, maybe you could argue that in a textbook, but from a trading standpoint, it's nonsense.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's about time frame, right? So I think we should clarify that as well. Are we finally rolling over on this market? I mean, you and I have talked about this for a minute. Every time you seem to come on here, we talk about the resilience of the market. I'm just seeing gold starting to break out, obviously. The dollar continues to go higher. Energy, oil still continue to go higher. That's not been a recipe for a higher S&P. The market has not continued to go with all of these other asset classes. Something's got to break. I don't know what you're seeing, but the NASDAQ here has been like 15 of 17 weeks straight up. What can you tell me? I mean, on my screen here, Brian, we're hovering. We keep holding this 50-period moving average. Looks like we may start to turn over a little bit. Anything you're looking at with the SPY or the Qs?
Yeah, let's take a look at the SPY, actually. We held the 20-day moving average once again. Since we got back above it here in early January, it's really been a place where the buyers have emerged each and every time. And you can't ignore that. Right. But you also cannot ignore what we see on this 30-minute time frame, which is that this market, has broken below some support in here, this little level. We've got a declining 5-day moving average. And when I look at it like this, Sean, I kind of think that, everyone's always calling double tops. And a lot of times these double tops really aren't double tops. It's just a place where the market is traded previously. But when you have a double top, you have point A right here at this point, and then point B and point C. And then you draw a trend line. When that trend line is broken, that's when you have your confirmation that it's getting ready to break. Right. As it breaks this low right here, what we call point B, then that becomes the point where you can call it a double top, and you would expect a move the height of that double top pattern. So we can just do it real quick and grab that and say that becomes our price target down here at about 513, 13 and a half. So today we broke down. Now, if we rally up a little bit, I'm thinking that tomorrow, if we do something like this, we're going to end up coming down fairly quickly to that level. So I'm leaning a little bit bearish near term because of that declining 5-day moving average, but I'm not going to get too aggressive with this much bigger bullish picture. And, the other asset classes, like you said, are kind of, gold and silver is starting to look really good again.
Yeah, I saw
Bitcoin
silver.
And Ethereum breaking down. Silver, real nice move. I mean, this is a beautiful breakout.
We're actually right there right now. We're right there right now, yeah.
Yeah, from that pullback to the 20-day moving average. And, if you look at the weekly time frame, this guy's got some room to run.
Wow, everything seems to be breaking out. Right, yeah. So this actually looks a little bit like the IWM. I kind of feel like the market might be gold here, and then silver's kind of like just trying to play catch up. Yeah, that is looking real nice, man. We've seen some big moves up in copper. We talked about the cocoa futures, 10 grand or something. All these things are going absolutely insane. Again, coming through. People absolutely love that. That was genius there, that $6 top to bottom, and then what that next move is. So thank you for that little bit of a tip there. Yeah, gold also. I mean, you just mentioned that, the weekly chart. Come over to my screen right here. Look at this. I mean, this is really starting to go. Potentially, I mean, maybe if I put on a daily chart, Brian, this will give us some ideas. But if someone's long gold right now because maybe they thought it would be a hedge against potentially the market, I don't know. They're winning because this is no longer a hedge. This is a great move up for gold. It has an average annual return from 1920 of 0.8 0.9%. So it actually returns less than like inflation. You lose money, you know, if you're sitting in this. But right now, are we sort of take profit here, or is there maybe a level of a pullback, maybe breaking back down below 200 or something here on GLD? If you were long, what kind of advice maybe for a safety net for longs here on the Spider Gold Trust?
Yeah, I think you look at this daily chart, and you know, we're, as you said on that weekly chart, we're breaking to all-time highs. That's not the time to sell. When it's finally working for you after a 0.9% after 50 years.
Yeah.
Right? These are the times you want to, you know, press your bets. Not here, of course, because it's just had this run. We could do one little measured move objective and say this is 184 up to 203. So what's that? Let's just call it 20 points. And from this pullback point here of 198 gives us a price objective of about 218 or so. And I would say, you know, maybe you start tightening your stops up there. But for right now, this is the most recent relevant higher low. This little pullback from a week and a half ago. I think your stop goes under there for now, and you just continue to manage it in terms of if it continues to make higher highs and higher lows, you raise your stop up underneath those higher lows that are relevant to your time frame. And for a longer term investor, you know, hopefully it looks something like that.
Wild. I mean, I feel like, yeah, if you're a long-term investor, you're really liking this move because you have never seen it before. Like we just mentioned, great move up there for gold. We just had some breaking news. You want to do something live?
Yeah.
All right, check out, I'm sure you have some post-market data, but Intel. So Intel, INTC there, Brian, with a nice move down here. And what I'm seeing from Benzinga here on Intel, it's the only story that I can see. David Zinzer here, Chief Financial Officer for Intel, talking about ambition of 60% non-GAAP gross margins and 40% operating margins in 2030. So I'm wondering if the market does, I mean, we don't really care how the market, well, all we care about is price action. So I'm not going to sit here and say that that's a good thing. It definitely looks like a bad thing as Intel's starting to come down a little bit. As I look at it daily for this, it's had a nice base here. We talked about this. I think this is the third most underperforming name, Brian, in the Dow. It's going to go Boeing, it's going to go UNH, and then it's going to come Intel year to date. So this name, again, getting hit downside a little bit right now for Intel. Would there be any sort of dip buy levels here potentially? Because the chips still remain relatively solid, I feel like.
The chips are solid. I'm looking at the SMH. It's down, what, about 85 cents after hours or so. So not really too bad. And I guess it's because this isn't, you know, considered a leader. If NVIDIA was getting hit, then the SMH would be
right.
You know, a little bit more panicked. But yeah, I think it's just, you know, you've got a stock below declining 20 and 50-day moving average. You don't want to be a buyer of it. It's clearly the laggard, as you mentioned. It lags the Dow. If it pulls back down into this area, maybe you start to think about it. But yeah, it's just a mess. I don't see any reason to buy an underperforming asset like that.
Yeah, are you of that belief as well, where why not just buy basically the best house on the block? Like I could say an ugly block, but this is a fantastic block. Like, why are we worried about picking up some of these names that are clearly underperforming in a sector? I've always been, and this is kind of a Kramer thing, but buy the best of breed names. Especially if we're looking to either swing something or, I mean, we can always look at other ones, but that's kind of what I believe in. Are you of similar sort of looking at the higher end names and then maybe digging down a little bit lower after that?
I am. So I like to look at those leaders, but once in a while when the leaders get so far stretched and there's really not much left in the sector that hasn't moved,
right,
then sometimes it pays to look at the, you know, kind of the junk pile. Because a rising tide lifts all boats in the sectors as well as the market. So sometimes you get a little bit of action in that. But Intel's just been an underperformer for decades here. I mean, it's still below the 2000 high.
Yeah, it's brutal.
A pretty good margin.
Man, did you see that move today in Tesla? That was some bad Chinese numbers came in and around 8:30 from China deliveries. I'll call it up right here for everybody. Big move down there, as we'll give you a second to try to load it up, and then I got to let you go. If you have any ideas, we can run those as well. But here's a huge move down for Tesla into 160, 162. If we go out to a daily chart, though, I don't know, man. I mean, just looking at this, a little bit of a top there at 200, and then coming over here, we could see back in summer, basically a little earlier in that spring, summer of 23, we did have that bottom in and around $60. So again, I don't know, man. I'm just seeing, again, another potential top like that. So now that I figured out I got this tool to use now, so I'm drawing like you, these little tops. So what do we think about Tesla down here? For me, it doesn't look like a buy. We got to get above 200, I feel like, before I start looking at this again.
Agreed 100%. I mean, it's in a downtrend. It's guilty till proven innocent.
Right.
We've got a declining 20, 50, 200-day moving average. These aren't the types of stocks that you buy. It looks like it's probably, like you said, headed for a test of at least this low from about this time last year. A lot of times we'll see maybe a flush below that, and then you start to get a bounce. But whether that's going to stick or not is anyone's guess. But you've got most likely a lot of uneducated stops underneath this level,
right,
thinking that, hey, if it breaks below that, then you'll get the uneducated short sellers saying that's the end of it, I'm going to short there. That's typically where you get the bounce because of that, when it breaks that obvious level.
Okay, so we'll look for a little bit of a relief rally there in Tesla. Any names that you're looking at that maybe we didn't highlight, or something that you might want to point out so we can cover maybe next week or have a quick look there? I don't know. I mean,
sure. I mean, the GLNG is a good one. Here's a nice looking weekly chart, and the daily is just coming off of a bounce in here. It had a little bit of strength here today. Wow. So I'm long some of that one. There's a little one, actually. You see AMC just continuing to hit new all-time lows. And I thought it was interesting that, so here's a weekly chart of AMC, just garbage.
Oh, my God.
NCMI, which is National, what do they call it? Cinemedia.
Yeah.
Here's our daily chart. Just big volume breakout over here about a week and a half ago. It's holding the anchored volume weighted average price from that level. And this looks like a good one, maybe, back above today's high with a stop underneath this pullback low. You can see that 5-day moving average coming back around. So that's a good one for tomorrow. I like the way silver acts. A couple of the little weed stocks. I don't know if these are Canadian, Sean, but you might know a little bit more about CRLBF and CURL.
Curaleaf, yep. I think those are multi-state operators as well in the U.S.
Yeah, so these are trading pretty darn tight, and if they can break these little consolidations, these might get a little bit of action here in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I like that. My nervous thing about those, of course, is as an investment. I mean, I know we're just talking about the next couple of days in swing trades, because honestly, if you zoom back out on some of those cannabis names, oh my God, the nightmare continues. Okay, Brian, again, absolutely fantastic. Everybody can find you at Alpha Trends, and I want to thank again, over 2,000 watching us live on YouTube. Plus, we're streaming on Twitch. We're streaming on Twitter. We're streaming everywhere, Instagram as well. So I want to thank you for joining us and just pointing out some of those levels as we see Intel continuing to go down. So thank you so much, Brian.
Can we come back to my screen real quick?
Sure, let's go.
Give you a gold star.
Yep.
John, before I saw you draw the anchor right down here in PVH.
Yep.
And I was thinking, that's it. I'm never going to get invited back. Sean gets this.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was a perfect level. And I was like, oh my God, don't tell me the anchored VWAP works again. I'd show your book, Brian, but one of the traders on the floor has it. We're spreading the knowledge around here. Go pick it up and go find Brian at Alpha Trends. Thank you. And yeah, you're always welcome back, man. So don't even worry about that. Thank you, Brian. Have a fantastic evening.
You too, with your wife.
Thank you. Ciao. Yeah, man, I'm seeing some people here. Yeah, what's up, Peter's son and everything like that. Unfortunately, Adam, Aaron, no matter what we think here, we always get sort of, and it's a good point, Peter's son, there was, some back and forth there with the way the shares were sort of distributed and some, liquidity issues there with the shares. And unfortunately, we saw what happened with Bed Bath & Beyond. That was another one of those big meme names. And GameStop is very, very similar. But GameStop seems to be holding water a little bit. Intel, yeah, that move continues to go lower. Look, Brian's 100% right. I'm not even going to go over my review. I'm not going to go over the tweets. I'm going to go over nothing. I got more important things to do. I got to go home and see that wife of mine. But thank you to Brian so much. We're going to be back here at 8:30 tomorrow. What a fantastic day to trade again it was. I'm still feeling the short, man. That Intel news, we'll see if it carries through to tomorrow. But hey, we're still going to be short, I feel like. But check me out tomorrow. Watch my sticky note tomorrow early around 9 o'clock. It'll have some trade ideas. We nailed that today. Did we go long? I don't think we went long again today. That's back-to-back days. We focus on the shorts. Will tomorrow be another short day? You shall find out then. Traders stay late, but I'm here tomorrow early at 8:30. Ciao. Happy anniversary, Marissa. I'm coming home, baby.